Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio, the only show that does shows January 7th. We're the only podcast recording today. That's right, in your face. I don't know. I think WrestleNomics records today. Ignore them. Forget them. This is the show you want to watch. This is Ring Post Radio. I'm your host, Ryan Knightsey. With me, as always, is the man, the myth, the legend, Scotty Edwards. Scotty, how are you doing on this fine January 7th?
I'm tired. There's 5 feet of snow outside. I want to cry.
What? You got snow?
Oh, I got a lot of snow.
I got snow to spare.
Went all winter without it. Now it's here, and now that is my post podcast day. That is going to take up the rest of my day. Not really, but it's going to ruin my day, and that's good enough for me. But otherwise, I'm great. It's been the busiest week in wrestling all year. I've watched a lot of wrestling, and a lot of it has been good. Some of it's been bad, and some of it's been unforgettable. No, that's what I meant. That's what I meant.
No, I think it's unforgettable and good.
I'll remember it throughout the whole year. I'll remember it throughout the whole year, one way or the other. Shout out Kota Ibushi. Hope he's doing well.
Certainly good to him.
Sounded sad. Was sad.
Still is sad.
Still is sad.
We'll certainly get to that as we unfurl this episode. I'm jealous you got snow. Ever since we moved down to Georgia, usually we'll get maybe like a sprinkle of snow or something on our ground. We haven't even gotten anything at all yet. Not even close to that. In Maryland, we would get snow and stuff. Here in Georgia, we're just not even close. Not even nothing. You got 5 feet of snow. I sort of miss the snow. I don't miss the physical labor of dealing with it, but I sort of miss the look of it.
Yeah, the only people that say they miss snow are the ones that don't have to deal with it. So, yeah.
That's totally true. You with 5 feet of snow that's probably a fair point. Let's get to it. We have a big packed show discussing a lot of what happened the past week. We're, of course, going to talk about Wrestle Kingdom 18 and the following, some notes from New Year Dash, along with previewing New Japan Battle in the Valley, which will also happening this upcoming weekend. We're going to talk some Noah New Year, some of the Stardom shows that happened, and All Japan shows that happened, and also preview TNA Hard to Kill, the first TNA pay-per-view of the year.
And we're previewing 2 shows.
I already said Battle in the Valley. We're good.
Oh, see, I completely zoned out. So
that's fine.
Shout out to me. First episode of the year, I'm gone.
Well, it wasn't. I mean, it was. This is our technical first Ring Post Radio episode of the year.
Eve was a week ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can you believe it?
This week was so long that it feels like that was at least 3 weeks ago.
To be fair, you slept. What percentage do you think of the week do you slept? Less than 10?
I don't know. What's the normal percentage?
I don't know. What's 8 times 7?
Nope, I'm not doing math here.
That's too early to do math like that. 56 hours, and then how many hours are in a week? 24 times 7. 56 minus 56 divided by 168 is 33%. Spent a third of your week
probably slept about 15%.
Half that. Oof, baboof. Well, I wanted to
probably 20. So
that's fair, I guess. I wanted to also start off the episode because I don't know if you saw. I was just scrolling through Reddit right before we started, Scotty.
Yeah,
and someone posted character documents, I guess. Apparently, back in the dying days of WCW, people, if you saw this on Reddit, you might know what I'm talking about. But back in the dying days of WCW, Vince Russo and Jeremy Borash pitched an all-women's TV show with a whole character dossier. And we don't have to read the character dossiers unless you're really interested in. But I have all the names here. Would you like to know early 2000 Vince Russo WCW women's wrestler names?
Sure.
Well, I'll tell you first off, the show that they were going to pitch was going to be called Bitch Slap.
Nice. Nice.
just right off the bat, know that that's what you're expecting.
Alrighty.
And just stop me when it gets a little too much, maybe. Well, we'll start off, of course, with Toxic Shock, which I believe is a reference to Toxic Shock Syndrome. Terrible right at the start. Homeless Heather. Kentucky Love with Papa Woody. We can't forget about the Ass Pirates, Blackbeard, and Treasure Chest.
So
by the way, there is a paragraph of a character background description attached to all of these names.
I don't need them.
What about Birdie Hole for One? Beastie Alley with.
We have so much to talk about, and this is what we're doing.
I had to bring this up because I read this and I was like, you have to know this. Beastie Alley with her little dog Scroat.
This is terrible.
Moose Knuckle and Camel Toe, a tag team, of course. The tag team MBP, which stands for Missing Body Parts, with the characters being Stumpy and Gimpy. This is real, folks. I shit you not. This is real. Nurse Hershey with Dr. Proctor, Grandma Gas, and of course, the rest of the roster was going to be filled out with people named Terry Springer, Brittany Shears, Fleminem, maybe. I don't know. I think it's supposed to be Eminem, but female.
I'll pay you nothing, but I'll just ask kindly if we can move on from this and talk about the reason anyone's here.
Someone named Jenny Knockersville. Does that work?
All right. I'll see you.
I had to stop the show and do this. I could not believe what I was reading. This is all insane. Each paragraph, I didn't even read any of the paragraphs, Scotty. Each paragraph is worse than the last. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But yeah, let's get to the show. Let's start off with Wrestle Kingdom, of course, as our lead topic here. Wrestle Kingdom 18 happened this past week, folks, January 4th, as per usual. And we got a lot of stuff to talk about from it. And I think the most newsworthy item I think we'll start off with is that main event. IWGP World Heavyweight Title match. Tetsuya Naito defeats Sonata in 25 minutes and 42 seconds. Scotty just officially gone from the show. So I told you
I was leaving.
That's fair. I appreciate it. I appreciate you appreciating you yes-anding my bits. I really do appreciate the yes-anding my bits.
I couldn't last much longer. It was getting rough.
I don't think you lasted a second. I think you
No, I listened to the first name, and that was when I was like, all right. All right. He read through this list and was like, yep, gotta have to bring this up. And then it got worse. And then it got worse. And then it got worse.
Yeah, it got worse. IWGP
World Heavyweight for WCW?
Yes, that was the dying days of WCW.
Yeah, sounds about right.
2000, 2001.
Very on brand.
Do you think this was a last minute Hail Mary to try to save WCW? What if we pitch a Wall Women show? And these are our names. And they're going up to Ted Turner or AOL. They're going up to AOL. What do you think about this? We got a show. It's called Bitch Slap. What do you think? We got everyone's favorite, Moose Knuckle. Everyone can't wait to see her. Oh, Jesus Christ. Just a terrible version, like a very awful version of Glow is basically what they're pitching. Anyways, Wrestle Kingdom 18, more important from this week, IWGP World Heavyweight Title match. Tetsuya Naito defeats Sonata in the main event. Of course, the match itself was something, but the main event, or the post-match, I should say, was even more important, where we got Tetsuya Naito attempting to do the roll call, Evil interrupting it, Sonata making the save, and then Naito officially doing that roll call with the loudest crowd I've ever heard, because Naito was on a microphone. I could barely hear him over the crowd. They were super into yelling out the roll call, and now officially Tetsuya Naito is your IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Scotty, give me your thoughts on the match. Give me your thoughts on the moment. How do you feel about the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 18?
I thought everything about it was perfect. I thought the match was very fitting of the main event. Wonder who called that one. I think that the story that they were able to create throughout the match was just really terrific. I thought Tetsuya Naito obviously was at the top of his game from from entrance to the very, very end when he walked back down that ramp and kind of paid respect to himself. I thought that was very fitting. I thought Sonata was so good in his role. And it felt like after all this time, after all the doubts from other fans, that when he was walking out, people were screaming Sonata for him. And I think that was perfect. I love the match. I really do. It's like right there for me with Danielson and Okada, which we'll get to, of course. I just thought like the overall emotion and the crowd reaction, it almost didn't even matter what happened in the match because like you were just so locked in because of how the crowd was into it. It was an infectious feeling, but the wrestling was great and the calls were great. Whether you listen to it in Japanese or English, I made sure to actually listen to it in both because for that match, I felt like it was important for me to kind of get a grasp so I can hear how fans reacted to both sides. And I thought they did a great job on both sides. And Sonata hitting the death fall but not being able to move, and then Naito hitting the death fall and turning that into a Destino and the win. I thought that was just a fantastic end to this match, and obviously the post match couldn't have been more perfect, right? You teased getting no roll call. You have Evil and Dick Togo go out there and attack, and rather than having anyone from LIJ currently out there to save the day, you have the original LIJ all involved with Sonata coming out of nowhere, perfectly shot, by the way. This was the best camera shot besides the one of Naito laying on the floor with the title next to him. This was the best shot of the entire show, where Sonata just flies out of nowhere, drills Evil, and they just have a face off, and then he leaves and he's crying in tears, but the fans are cheering him out. And I thought that was the ultimate moment that, listen, people can doubt him all he want, all his reign, but he's leaving the Tokyo Dome with his name being cheered, with his name coming through the dome, and that's all he ever wanted. And I thought that was a perfect way to end it. And then, of course, the roll call. It was as magical as it was teased for the longest time. Like you said, you couldn't even hear him say it. That's how loud the crowd was for it. And I think that tells you all you need to know about where we are in the current world of wrestling. There's a lot of wrestlers that are over, and then there's Tetsuya Naito.
Yeah, you can't deny that this crowd wanted that roll call. Like, it was.
That's why everyone was
insane.
there. I'm like 95% sure. Everyone that got a ticket was like, you know what? I'm here for this. I don't care about anything else.
I agree fully with that. I'm trying to see if I can pull up. I know WrestleNomics tweeted out the attendance of the past several Wrestle Kingdoms as well.
I know it just slightly outsold last year.
Yes. What was the main event of last year? I believe that was Jay White, Kazuchika Okada, if I'm not mistaken. And then also had the Omega match as well. But I'll try to confirm that as I scroll back through their Twitter. But yeah, I thought the main event, I thought the match itself, I thought was really good, really, really, really good, great. There were some moments there were some matches, there were some moments. There was a moment in near the end of the match where like Naito's going for a Destino, and just whether it be him or Sonata that just can't get the move right.
Yeah, I thought his shoulder was gone for a while there. Sonata,
possibly. But he starts going for it. They both stall. They both figure it out. Then they fully stop, just hit each other, and it was a weird moment of like watching that. And I feel like if you were watching that in America, you would be like, "Oh, that was a botch," and they would immediately be on Botchamania, and the crowd would make fun of them for it. And here, the crowd got like more into it as they were fixing the botch and then ultimately doing the match. Yeah. And it made me, and I think everyone sort of knew this, and we kind of alluded to this idea in the preview that we did of Chris Samsa from Sport of Pro Wrestling. This idea of ultimately the match didn't fully matter. And as the commentary was talking about it as well, the match didn't fully matter. which in some ways is frustrating when it's the main event of a Wrestle Kingdom. But in other ways, it's like we're looking for more is the moment. What we're looking for is Naito's going to pick up the win. He's going to beat Sonata, and then we get the roll call. And what happens about the roll call? That's the ultimate climax, ultimate moment of this match. There's nothing that this match can do that will outshine whatever that roll call is going to look like.
Right.
Would I have loved like a 5-star match? Maybe, of course. But again, like I don't think anything from the match that would have been able to produce. I don't even know if Sonata would be able to fully get a 5-star match here, but nevertheless, the moment
Naito
is
was
what
in
made the
his
match.
prime.
Yeah, I thought Naito was pretty good. I thought Sonata was better than expected.
Sonata's a good wrestler. I think people just kind of like to overlook that. Like he's a good wrestler.
Sure.
Especially in this newer version of himself. I think he's even better. But I don't know. I think this reached the highest of potential for me.
Sure. Yeah, I get that.
In terms of, if you care about stars, like I think it reached the max that I expected. And I think I ended up giving it the same rating I did last year's main event, which is kind of funny to think about because those are very different. Last year I thought was a better like match itself,
Yeah.
but this year's emotion and feeling and the atmosphere. I think it was Rob Viper, who obviously tweets a lot about Lucha, made a great point. It's like a match where the moves don't matter, the crowd doesn't matter. People just want the baby face to win, and you could feel it throughout the match is better than a perfect 5-star match where the crowd's like kind of into it. And I was like, 1000%. I will take that every single time because the incredible crowd is what makes a match feel so special. And that's exactly what it did here. This got to the max for me, despite the, one or two struggles throughout, one or two anything, because they didn't matter. The crowd never got lost because of them. Like you said, the crowd got more into it. They knew these two were struggling. They knew these two were fighting, and it raised up the match. It was fantastic. There's better Wrestle Kingdom main events, obviously, but like for what people felt like going into the show to what this delivered, I thought it was fantastic.
And like I said about I dug on Sonata a little bit where I wasn't expecting necessarily a 5-star.
Everyone else did.
Yeah, I said I was like, I'm not fully expecting a 5-star match out of Hiro Sonata.
That's a good thing though.
Yeah, in no way. I don't think anyone was expecting Okada Omega.
No.
And I think it would be foolish to expect that. And I think what they were able to pull off, despite several botches, was the crowd still fully being invested in the match. There is something to that. Is that like weird, hopeless optimism from, as reported by reported by New Japan? Is it hopeless optimism from 27,000 people? Maybe, or maybe it's despite the botches, these stars are still over to the certain audience. Something, or at least Naito and his story is still over to the audience. Yeah. The match itself wasn't, it was one of those rare matches, and I think you would agree. It was one of those rare matches where like the crowd is so good it adds like at least a quarter star to the.
We don't get that enough anymore.
Yeah, it was like I said, I was shocked and amazed that like botches were happening. The crowd was like, no, we're still into this. We're not letting go. We're going to want this to happen.
I think if this was a normal, no hot crowd, I'm probably like a 4 and a quarter, but I went full 4.5 because of this crowd. I'm perfectly fine with that. And I like on second rewatch, I watched. I was like, this is phenomenal. Like, I know the botches are coming. I'm like, they didn't take me out of it.
Yeah,
there's certain things in certain other matches that took me out of it a little bit, and we'll get to that. Nothing took me out of this match. Like I was locked in, and if you can keep me doing that, despite a slip up or two, despite whatever you may do, that speaks to everything that's going on at once. This was the right main event, by the way. I know some people were like, oh, you know what? They should take this out of the main event. Who gives a shit what we think? This was the right main event. Nothing else could main event this show.
Yeah. I think it was a solid part. I think it was a solid part by the two of them.
there were 29,000 fans or something, like just under 30, and every single one of them wanted Tetsuya Naito to do the roll call, and every single one of them did the roll call with him.
Yeah, at least it sounded like it for sure. Officially, that attendance number 27,422. Last year was 26,000, so up marginally. I mean, up by 1,400 fans. A nice, a nice, a nice dynamite number these days. And then they had some night ones, night twos. Hard to tell. They were also in the pandemic. 2019, if you want to go as far back as that, was 38,162. 2018, 34,995. 2017, 26,192. So they didn't get a full house or even close. They didn't get pre-pandemic. They did as good as like 2017-ish, 2023-ish. They did a little bit better than last year. So not exactly what I think New Japan would hope here. But it is growth, if albeit 1,400 more tickets being sold. There is growth there, just not massive growth year over year. Not like the 2017 into 2018 going from 26,000 to 34,000. That's massive growth right there. But yeah. That is the
next week. It's on a Saturday, so it'll be very interesting to see how they do.
Yeah, I imagine that it being on a Saturday, there would be a better chance of it being higher attendance, but we'll see what happens.
That's what Tanahashi thinks.
Mm-hmm. And he's the president. He knows all. We all know this. Let's go back up to the top of the show. Then we'll work our way back down. Starting off with the Rambo. Just getting some quick thoughts. This, of course, is the Rambo to determine the fatal four-way for the KOPW title. In the New Year Dash event. Not much to really say about the Rambo here. It's a matter of whether or not it's fun. I don't think these matches are ever good. And I'll tell you what, Scotty. Of course, these Rambos live and die on their surprises. And I tell you what, when Takashi Iizuka walked out there, I was into it. I got super into the rest of the Rambo. I love Iizuka. Then Taichi comes out, and of course he got the Iron Claw stuff. I was really hoping that Taichi and Iizuka would make it to the four-way and see them wrestle each other or wrestle with each other in some capacity or whatever in the four-way at New Year Dash. I just enjoyed him. The guy is still jacked for some reason. Maybe not jacked, but he's still looking good. And I was into it. I was into this guy coming out here and continuing that story. I'm loving it. I'm loving Iizuka out there. Other than that, I don't know what the fuck is up with Yo. What happened with? I don't know what's up with Yo. He was a comedy character all of a sudden. When did that switch?
He's a funny guy.
And then I wrote down that the Final Four looked aggressively fine. The Final Four, of course, being Great-O-Khan, Taiji Shimori, Yo, and Toru Yano. That is not the sexiest of Final Fours for sure. But did you have any thoughts on the Rambo, Scotty?
No. Negative.
Okay,
Zero. Absolutely none.
Perfect. Let's move on to the IWGP Junior Tag Team title match. Of course, this was between Catch 2-2 and the War Dogs, Clark Connors and Drilla Maloney. This was interesting one because, of course, we didn't just get a title change here with Catch 2-2 picking up the win, but we got a whole ass gimmick change from TJP. Obviously, the lead up to this match was a coffin match and TJP getting quote unquote killed off. We all thought that there was a gimmick change. There was something coming. And what came out was the Aswang, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, which is a Filipino lore nightmare vampire werewolf character. What do you think about the junior tag team match? What do you think about TJP's new gimmick? I assume he's continuing it. I don't know.
I convinced myself he was good friends with Bray Wyatt because the mask looked exactly like the Fiend. Almost exact.
I wrote down that it was an interesting combo of the Fiend and Great Muta.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I thought the match was pretty forgettable.
Ooh. And I know you're not a big Drilla Maloney fan as well, so
No, I am not. 2-2's good. But like, I don't know. The match, I guess, did its job of like getting you into the show, but
Mhm.
it would be tied for my least forgettable match of the show, which is incredible because there was a match that House of Torture on here that at least I still remember. This, I don't remember a single move that happened.
Yeah. No, I get that. It was an interesting match. It's an interesting match because it very much feels like late era Triple H NXT,
Yeah.
where I thought the entrance with TJP was baller. I thought it looked cool. I thought it was
And
a
then,
good atmosphere. And then, you get to the match, and of course, like any Wrestle Kingdom, you're expecting a very hot junior tag team match. And then it wasn't that hot. It was just like, all right, that if anything, I wrote down that like match was good. Match was good to me, but
sure.
I did say that like his gimmick was a tad distracting from the whole
Yeah,
thing.
I get that. I get that. I didn't get it. Like, no. I understand there's probably a character he wanted to play. I get that.
Hmm.
But it just felt like such a weird promotion to do it in,
Yeah,
right? Like, I don't know if he was still doing like Impact or something, it would make sense. Um, but everything looked cool. I just wish like there was more of a tease and like saying what it was called at the press conference, and then we just kind of saw it. Because like I said, so it's a weird thing to do in this company, but it's fine. It's
yeah.
fine.
Well, I want to talk about that too because it's like it's not just like a weird thing to do in this company. I haven't watched his New Year Dash match yet.
He was
Did he?
normal again.
He was normal again. So okay, there we go. It's a
I think he had
one-off.
like red eyes or something, but
Okay, then maybe not a one-off. That's
not a
interesting.
full one off. But he got rid of the fiend mask
Okay, because
and
what I
just
was gonna
wrestled
say,
normal.
if he was going to wrestle like that moving forward, it's not just that the big picture. It's like how does this work in this company? And it's like, well, the Great Muta was in this company, so there's an element of it can work. Um, but it's also like I was just thinking, it's like, how does it work within his own faction, like United Empire? Like, I understand that United Empire is probably not long for this world, but like, I was like, this just feel this.
Oh,
I'm
what makes
looking
you
at
say
this.
that, man?
Maybe that steel cage match needs to be a unit disband match. Who knows? Who knows? But I was just watching it, and I was just like, this doesn't feel like a United Empire thing. This honestly feels like this would fit better in like House of Torture.
Uh, yeah, sure. I don't know if I just don't know if it necessarily fit in New Japan, truthfully.
That's fair.
Or here's another thing. Maybe it would work better at a smaller show
Yeah,
where
that's
like
fair.
fans can get a better look and stuff like that. Because like
Hmm.
there's 29 whatever fans there, 29,000 some fans, and like I don't know, it's hard to really understand what you're looking at there because I'm watching on TV. I'm like, I have no idea what's happening.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the next match then. The New Japan World TV title match. This was Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Zack Sabre Jr., with Tanahashi getting the win, getting the job done in under 9 minutes. President of the Universe, of course, getting it done like he does. What did you think about this match, Scotty?
This was like the shortest, really good wrestling match of the show. It was like, oh, we're gonna just pack in all of this stuff, and we're gonna make you wish this match was the full 15. I think this title is perfect for Tanahashi right now and his current state in wrestling. It's shorter matches. He doesn't have to necessarily do all the high spots. He
Hmm.
doesn't have to necessarily do all that because this match worked perfectly. I thought him and Zach worked incredibly together, which isn't really a shock. I just wish it had more time, truthfully, because it really felt like it was getting going and then it kind of just ended, which is an unfortunate end to Zach's reign because of all the work he put in and how great he did, I think, as the first New Japan World TV champion. But my hope is Zach is now going up the card, right? That is what you would hope at this stage in the game, and it seems like that's probably where he's going. I know he started. It looks like TMDK will get a never 6-man soon, but I'm hoping it does mean he goes for the global world and so on down the line, because he's very much ready and capable of holding either one. I think, especially with how many of their international stars seem to be leaving.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope, like we said, I hope this fully is a Zach losing up moment.
Yeah.
New Japan loves doing that. I want this to be. I said before that I thought Zack Sabre Jr. was the greatest champion of 2023. His reign, I thought, top down, was fun to watch. Once he really figured out this year, he really figured out his heavyweight technical wrestling style. And I think he really nailed it here. I think he had a fantastic technical match here with Tanahashi. Tanahashi, for a fact, loves working this guy. It was the first feud that Zack Sabre Jr. had coming to the promotion. And yeah, it wasn't as good for me as their rest of their rivalry, but it's another solid match in looking up at Cage Match right now, in their 12 match history. I think it's another solid match. I mean, most of their matches, like you said, this being a little short, most of their matches are, I would say, on average 16, 17 minutes, if not a little bit longer on an average there. The shortest before this match being only 12 minutes. And that was in a G1 Climax match in 2020. So
they have great chemistry.
Yeah, they've always had great chemistry. Tanahashi has always wanted to work this guy, like I said. And yeah, I thought Zack Sabre Jr. did a really good job here, and Tanahashi gets the win. Like
it was
you
as
said,
good as it could be for 8 minutes and 53 seconds.
Agreed.
Agreed. Like it hit his max potential. You give him another, I don't know, 8 minutes and 53 seconds after this, and they might have one of the best shows on the card easily, truthfully.
Yeah, and it's like I want to see. I really
hope
Zack Sabre Jr. Yeah, I really hope Zack Sabre Jr. gets moved up. And like you said earlier, I am fascinated to see what Tana's reign is going to look forward. I think
he's him winning, a young guy, very clearly.
The young guy, of course, Taguchi. The next Skate Taguchi.
Well, actually, I forgot that dickhead showed up.
We'll get to those notes.
He might not lose to a young guy, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. A part of me doesn't want him to lose for a little bit, especially knowing what's around.
I said that, by the way.
Part of me doesn't want me to lose the title immediately,
right?
Obviously, but another part of me is like I'm fully thinking that based on what he's said as president of wanting to have more title matches in these smaller places. Now knowing he's the TV champion and he's going to be
he also new beginning shows left and right.
He also said that he's not going to be wrestling those shows per se. He said that he was going to be wrestling more in Tokyo, if I'm not mistaken, or am I swapping those in my head?
I have no idea.
I don't remember if I'm swapping.
I feel like he didn't say I'm not going to wrestle in Tokyo.
It was either I'm not going to wrestle in Tokyo, I'm going to wrestle somewhere else because in Tokyo I want to focus more on being president. Or it was the opposite.
Oh, maybe that might be.
And I don't remember if it was the opposite.
He's gonna wrestle both. Come on now.
Yeah. It's Tanahashi. You can't get him away from that ring. But yeah, I fully sort of expecting this idea, assuming he's going to wrestle outside and doing these tours. I expect him just going to be wrestling all the time, defending his title everywhere. That wouldn't shock me. Let's move right along to Yuya Uemura defeats Yota Tsuji in a singles match, 10 minutes and 57 seconds. Scotty, what do you think?
How about that arm drag, man? This was the Yota Tsuji show, and then Yuya Uemura won. That's how I felt about this match. I thought Yuya looked good. Yuya looked good. Like, he didn't look bad at all. But it really did feel like the Tsuji show, and then Yuya just turned it on from the arm dragging on. I only keep bringing up the arm drag because I've seen it posted like 150 times. I'm like, all right, it was an arm drag. Let's chill, please.
The guy was working on his fundamentals.
I'm gonna start posting headlocks soon. Just see like, oh, look at that headlock, man.
Ooh, look at that tight headlock. Oh, you can't even believe
Don't get me wrong. He does great arm drags. Great. The one that he hit on the spear was great. But I was like, this is what we picked from this match. Not like Tsuji like planting this guy's head in the ground 7 times. But Yu Uemura winning is obviously huge, and it kind of sets him up for something big. I actually thought he was going to challenge Naito right off the rip. Just send it, kind of tease the Rainmaker shock type thing. It's one of those things that you want to get risky with, like, oh, let's send him in there with Naito and see what happens. I wouldn't have obviously done the shock, but obviously would have brought him up a little bit more in stature. I think it's very clear, like, the standing of these 4. And I know this has been a list like going around, like rank these 6, the 6 Japanese stars that are pretty great. And no matter how you take it, Yoda and Umino are comfortably still ahead of these 2. And I really felt that after this show, despite both of them being the losers of this show. I was like, Shooter and Shota, not Shota, that's the same guy. Yoda Tsuji are so much further ahead.
Yeah.
Like, they're so much further ahead. But I hope Yu Uemura can grow from this, because he's still clearly very good. I just think it's like more singles matches will do him better. I just don't think he's a tag guy. Like, I just don't think that's his thing.
Yeah, Yoda Tsuji, how do I say this nicely? I feel like Yoda Tsuji a little bit carried Yu Uemura here. Yu Uemura was good. I think he was very good, but like in a match,
terrifying to have your first singles match back at Wrestle Kingdom. I'll give him that.
Sure,
he looked a little worried.
Exactly. I think he looked worried. I think in a match where you're constantly putting over a guy's fundamentals and everything, it's like, great. I'm glad he has good fundamentals. I want to see a great wrestler. And the other side of the ring, I saw a great wrestler. Yu Uemura, I think
that guy lost, bud.
Great point. It totally makes sense that Yu Uemura gets a win. Because
Tsuji always loses. Yeah. Totally.
Tsuji, number one, Tsuji always loses.
Big match, Tsuji always loses.
Always loses, still over. And then Uemura.
I've watched Shooter get pinned by House of Torture like 7 straight shows, and he's still over. So it's like these 2 are just like unbreakable.
Yeah. And then Uemura obviously needs something right now. So
maybe like I don't know, more moves. That'd be pretty cool.
He's still working on those fundamentals. You would think that he would have mastered the fundamentals in Young Lion training, but apparently he did it in TNA.
When he adds more moves, right? I think he's going to be fantastic. But for now, arm drag. Thank you.
It's just sort of frustrating being like,
the Tsuji fan. You're watching him get pinned in the middle of the ring
by a guy that's like, oh man, he really worked on his fundamentals. It's like, good. Everyone should be working on the fundamentals. But like, let's move on from that. He should have mastered it by now.
I do find it funny.
Young Lion training was working on the fundamentals. Going to TNA was to try to become a better wrestler. Now we're like, oh, he still worked on his fundamentals.
Would you rather him? Okay. Let's be fair to him. He was paired with Joe Hendry.
That's my point.
It's not his fault. It's not his fault. TNA is like, this is the spot for him.
This is the spot. Joe Hendry, baby. Oh man. The Joe Hendry stands are going to come at me.
I walked away from these 2 matches in a row, right? And I was like, if Shooter and Tsuji aren't in the top 3 match next year, then this company failed itself. Because like, one of the things I was paying attention to throughout the show more than anything, like, the matches, whatever. Who's over? Who do the fans want to see? And it was so apparent who's over, and it was those 2, which is good because they're kind of very important for their future. And
those 2 being Tsuji and Shooter.
Yeah. Not Uemura yet, and Ren Narita is, I guess, technically over as a heel. They hate him. This guy hit a Bella Buster for his finisher. Are you kidding me? You're killing me. I think I think after this match, until like Hiromu and Despy, the main person that was over was like Shooter.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of was like Shingo's over, but it's like, you know, we know who he is.
Yeah.
But whatever, we can move on.
Next match, we kind of already talked about a little bit, hinted to it. Shota Umino and Kaito Kiyomiya losing to House of Torture, Evil, and Ren Narita in 7 minutes and 6 seconds.
This was an angle. This wasn't a match. This was an angle.
This was Shooter riding out on a bike, and then
baby.
I wrote down he looked terrified on that bike.
Oh yeah, sure did. Sure
did. He looked like he was gonna very worried. He was.
Well, what matters is he looked cool. And that's my guy.
I don't.
No, he looked cool. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
I don't think a guy looking terrified can also look cool.
He didn't look that terrified for me. He just looked like he was very determined on not hitting anything. Which, hey, I get it. I thought him and Kaito are like, I said this when I was watching the show. It's like, it'll never happen. But if they really wanted to, these two would be like maybe the best tag team in the world if they just stayed together. And then, they lost. But that was expected. I actually never expected them to win. So because the story is continuing Shooter's story with Ren Narita, and that's Ren Narita kind of cheating and getting ahead. Here's the thing. I need Shooter to win this feud, which I think ultimately will happen because he'll get his comeuppance and he'll move on. And I need Shooter and Yota Tsuji to, do things after all this. I almost don't even. I like these two matches. Like I don't even care. I was more entertained by this match than I was the tag title matches. Was it like because there was heat to these. The tag title matches had nothing. It was like you could hear like a pin drop.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm looking for crowd. I'm looking for reaction. Like, is this a fundamentally good match? No, I don't care. It was an angle. It was a fight. And that's all I was looking for. And if it helps Shooter get over, if it helps Narita get over as a heel, they did their job. Like this wasn't their stop necessarily, right? They weren't going one-on-one. This was to continue towards the new beginning shows rather than give them their shot to do what Yuya and Tsuji did, which I'm okay with because they would have just got 6-7 minutes and it would have been whatever. Instead, this way you kind of can get Ren Narita the win without making Shooter look bad in the process. Evil's an absolute prick, and Kaito Kiyomiya is great and deserves better.
Yeah. I mean, I my big notes here were that it was a classic House of Torture match in the sense that it was hand waveable. The formula only works with a certain amount of people, and I don't think it necessarily works with Shooter and Kaito.
Never helps when they're not winning.
No,
like this, like I said, this was an angle because a great House of Torture match.
They do exist. We say on the show all the time they exist.
That is to get the person the win, right? Or whoever the win, and that was not the goal of this match. I think when we get to the Shooter and Narita match, that is their chance to do that.
Yeah, it's just a matter of when that is happening, I guess.
Yeah, because I need these new beginning cards to come out, which I think we might have to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, I think the first new beginning is January 20th, I believe, was the first one.
Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah, I imagine we might get that post Battle in the Valley. That'd be my assumption.
Probably. Which
next match
with Fred Roster and Jacob Fatu.
Next match, never openweight title match. Tama Tonga defeats Shingo Takagi. This match ruled. I love this match. This match was so great. This was as good, if not better. I would say it's certainly as good as the Ishii Masa Kiyomiya match from Noah New Year. I love this match. I was shocked. Tama Tonga was very good in this match, I thought. Shingo is Shingo, so you're always expecting a great match out of him. But I thought, for Tama Tonga, his 2023 littered with hits and misses in his match quality. I thought here he really stepped up. He looked like a new guy. and I thought he nailed it. And then he announced, "Oh, this is my last month in New Japan,
Bastard.
and I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna leave in a month to work in America." So, thoughts on the match? I guess thoughts about Tama Tonga's future.
One, this is completely not answering what you just said. They put Fantastica Mania in the middle of the New Beginnings tour. So like it starts February 12th, which is exciting, obviously. And then at the end of it is the New Beginning in Sapporo for 2 days. Just want to point that out. Because I was going through to see how long the New Beginnings tour was, and then it's just like Fantastica Mania. Oh, okay. I mean, I'm not going to complain. That was one of my favorite tours of last year. But I was not expecting that. But this match, I was talking to a listener of this show, and I said, in full confidence, I know how Ryan works. I know, one, he's going to love this match because he's a Tama Tonga maniac. Two, I know he's going to like this match more than Okada and Danielson because this is how Ryan works. And three, I was right. Anyways,
spoilers for the Okada Danielson preview.
Well,
I think I liked it. Let me look at my match rating. I think I gave it the same rating, which will shock
either
people.
way, that's enough for me. I just knew you were gonna like this match to an outrageous amount of another match. Everyone liked this match. To be fair, I'm not saying this is like a crazy thing. This was really good. Shingo proved to me again that he should not be this low on the card.
Yeah.
Like top 10 wrestler of the world comfortably, and he just continuously is doing these weird ass random matches for this company. The only good thing, right, is that over the next week, he is going back to Dragon Gate to fight Masaki Mochizuki in Mochizuki's anniversary match. That should be great. And he's fighting John Moxley at Battle in the Valley. So
that should be good. No DQ match.
That's weird. I don't. But I get it because you have Okada and Ospreay in the main event. It's like, okay, we can change it up.
Sure.
But it's like, let this guy just do things, please. That was my biggest thing in this match. I was like, not only did he lose, he lost to a guy that's leaving. Well, and
it's also like you don't have any expectation of this match being a losing up for Shingo. Like Zack Sabre Jr. feels like, oh, that might be a losing up. Here it's like
Tanahashi.
It's like maybe okay, maybe he loses up to the global heavyweight, and then Dolph Ziggler comes out. You're like, well, never mind then.
Hey, we'll get to Dolph.
We'll get to him. We'll get to
Dolph Ziggler. But yeah, that's kind of how I felt. I was like, this guy should be so much higher up the card than he is.
Yeah,
and don't get me wrong. Going from Rambo to the main card this year was a good step up. But 2 years ago, he was in the main event of night one. So I don't want to hear it. But he was excellent. I thought Tama Tonga was very good. But Tama Tonga, buddy, listen, you can't be winning titles and be like, oh yeah, I'm leaving. It's like you can't be doing that. That's absolute shit to the company that has given you everything for years. Like I if you just decided because you're like, oh, you know what, I'm never topping this match. Great, sure, you're probably right, buddy. But like, man, that's tough. That's so tough. That's so tough on New Japan. And I think based off of what happened, they just pivoted evil from the Naito first challenge to the never because they were like, we gotta get that belt back. And Evil actually had a great promo. He's like, can you just leave now? And I was like, yeah, woo, woo, woo. That was great. But this match was great. Deserves all the credit that it's getting. And it was a Shingo Takagi. I think it was a Shingo Takagi delivery more than anything else.
What's frustrating?
He made it great.
Yeah. I'll give Tama a little praise here.
Well, Tama had to play to Shingo's match. If they played to Tama's match, aka the 20-minute draw in the G1,
sure,
it would not have been the same.
I like this match more than their
everything.
I was gonna say whatever the show last year when Shingo won the title.
Oh yeah,
or whatever that match.
One of the
US
shows. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this match more than that. I thought Tama stepped up a lot more here. And I think like you said, the Tama special of it being a 20-minute pace, it being sub 15 minutes helps helps Tama out a lot,
Yeah.
actually.
Felt like a never open weight match,
Yeah.
which doesn't happen much.
Tama Tonga is weirdly doing the Michael Oku gimmick where he's slowing down the matches and slowing down the crowd and everything to try to
You know how
show
I feel
that
about that.
he controls it. Yeah. Cut that out. You cut out 5 minutes of the match and you get a way better performance from Tama Tonga. Yeah, it's fine. And then we'll get a full House of Torture
That's
match
fine. I don't care.
with Evil and Tama Tonga.
Whatever gets the title obviously back to New Japan, because they can't lose another belt for time because someone's not showing up.
Where do we think Tama Tonga's going? He's talking about end of January. He is going back to America. There are WWE, AEW, TNA, ML Dub. Maybe he's an ML Dub stand. Maybe he's going to Billy Corgan's Smashing
I will
Pumpkins.
Greatly question AEW if they sign him.
Yeah, I don't think it's
negative sense for what they do. Absolutely negative. Unless he's like joining Bullet Club Gold because Juice Robinson's out,
which
it makes no, it's not happening. It makes negative sense.
That won't even make any sense because if I'm not mistaken, Jay White was the guy that kicked him out.
That was my exactly. That was my point. I'm TNA's the favorite in the clubhouse for me.
Mm-hmm.
But WWE has obviously had interest in him for a long time. So
yeah.
Wouldn't shock me.
I look at Tama Tonga and I see a 41-year-old mid-carder, right? I think that's fair. I don't think I'm not disparaging against him. The guy is a never open weight champion. I don't think I'm disparaging to say he's a mid-carder.
He is not a world he might be a world champion in TNA.
Yeah. But I see a 41-year-old mid-carder and I look around at the American landscape of wrestling and say, who else has a bunch of 40-plus-year-old mid-carders? And I see WWE. And I think that's the spot for Tama Tonga. I don't know what kind of spot.
Oh, there you go. He's gonna join the OC.
Hey, they're currently in a storyline where AJ Styles is leaving the OC, so maybe bringing in Tama Tonga will work.
Maybe being no realer than Gorilla will do them a lot of good. That's the only that's the only sad part about this. He won't have the one thing that makes him cool, and that's the entrance song.
They have to bring the entrance wherever he
goes. They can't bring the entrance. Well, at TNA and AEW they could, but not WWE. WWE is going to give him like generic da 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 da. It's gonna be like
Gorilla.
Gorilla. No, he'll just have the OC music. That sounds pretty close, actually.
I guess the other question is here as well is not only where is Tama Tonga going, but is Tonga Loa going with him? I guess that's also another question.
Brother, Tonga Loa is not going anywhere, but by what it looks like.
That guy is having a rough time. But it's just a question to bring up.
Crazy.
It's either just Tama Tonga or a God.
They say, hey, bud, you can come back for the G1, and then we're never going to use you again. Oh, okay.
He got used again once.
Yeah, against David Finlay. Let's not bring that up right now.
Was it David Finlay or was it Chase Owens?
It was both. Considering who's champion right now, let's not bring it up.
That's fair. IWGP Tag Team title and New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team title match.
God.
Gorillas of Destiny. Speaking of Gorillas of Destiny 2.0, Phantasmo and Hikuleo win and defeat Bishamon, Hiroki Goto, and Yoshihashi to become the dual New Japan Strong and IWGP Tag Team Champions.
This match was so boring. It was so boring. Like, this was my least favorite match of the show. It was so boring. I could not get into it for the life of me. I was like, I'm watching this. Obviously, this was not when I was tired yet. So I was like, I'm fully locked in. This is going to be a shorter version of their 40-minute triathlon that they had in the World Tag League finals. And it was just there. It just existed. And I watched it. And I was like, I know who's winning because the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles never get defended at this stupid show successfully. The show is not stupid, but I'm just angry about the titles never getting defended. And now the titles are back on one tag team, and they're not combined, and they're defending both of them in different ways. And I'm like, what is the point of this? Why do we keep doing this? I don't get it.
It feels like New Japan wants to combine these titles, but
And
they
they
also
just
don't.
I think they you know what, we can blame the Continental Classic Crown Jewel, Triple Crown, whatever the hell we're calling it these days, since we change the name every day. I saw that on the Eddie Kingston Gabe Kidd graphic. It says AEW Triple Crown Championship, which
Really?
is hilarious.
Oh no. No one knows because on Dynamite this past week, they had that eliminator for the collision match against Kingston. And it was like, oh, if Kingo wins, he gets another 3 belts. I was like, wait, so it's for the 3 belts or if it's just for
what
the one?
Eddie's doing is he's only defending the strong, but it's titled AEW Triple Crown Championship on the graphic.
Yes, I'm looking at it now. AEW Continental Crown.
Because if you look at it, the strong title's the only one in the.
Yes.
Man, no one knows.
No one is sure what is happening with this title, what this means, what happens. I didn't see Collision. Did you see Collision last night?
Yeah, I did.
When they had the Trent Beretta match, what titles did they hold up as defended?
The crown.
The one crown title, not all 3.
Yeah, I believe it was just the crown, but Eddie does carry all 3.
Interesting.
Yeah, no one has any clue what's going on here.
Not even commentary, not Eddie, not the match itself.
Here
not promotions involved in this title.
This isn't even a hot take. You want to hear a take?
Sure.
AEW needs to get rid of a title so badly because none of them make sense. They're all serving the same purpose at this point, right? If the international title was an international title, that'd be fine, but it's not. Instead, it's a Orange Cassidy snooze fest most weeks. TNT title, it's Christian Cage holding it, right? Like that's all we're doing. Right? Yes, you can confirm. Yeah. Christian Cage is great, so it's fine. Like whatever. But that's your mid-card title to me. That has been the mid-card title. It's still the mid-card title. And then there's this thing that no one knows what it's doing. It has a world title connected to it. It has a strong open weight New Japan's US expansion title connected to it. And whatever the hell the actual belt is. What are we doing?
Which is either defended along with the 3 or a separate belt that's its own thing.
I agree, Kai. I am so glad Deanna joined AEW as well. I think she's great. And if they this brings up a good point. It seems like AEW is doing a lot of tag teams lately in the women's division. They better not even think about it.
They're already talking about it. They're already thinking about it. Tony Khan has already mentioned it out loud. I would love to have them.
Don't.
We got Mariah May and Tony Storm. We got.
I understand what we have.
We have Mercedes Martinez and Diamante.
We have Mercedes. Listen.
I mean, Mercedes Moné is coming into the company presumably, and we know for a fact she loves women's tag team titles.
Oh yeah, she doesn't leave companies over them or anything. Whatever. I don't get how did we go? And this was a great point made by Meltzer this week, actually. He said this company went from being, all right, it's all about the world title, the tag titles, and the women's title to let's have all the titles. Why? How did I even get here? What the hell were we talking about?
We were talking about the New Japan Strong IWGP Tag Team title match at Wrestle Kingdom.
Oh, that's fitting. Okay, it wasn't that crazy to get here, I guess.
It's the New Japan Strong of it all. Yeah. We're adding titles without connecting the titles when everyone feels like, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
As someone that has had to deal with the strong women's title for months, they can get rid of all the strong titles as far as I'm concerned. I don't want them back. I don't want them here anymore. And we're nearing a time where the strong women's title sure sounds like it's either disappearing or something because, oh boy, I'm frustrated.
It's not long for this world.
I think the title is actually not going to go anywhere, but I really wish it would.
I guess we'll see.
It's just too much for no reason.
IWGP Junior Heavyweight title match. El Desperado gets the win by defeating Hiromu Takahashi.
The best junior in the world's finally champion again, baby. This was good. they can't have a bad match. It was good.
No,
Nothing special.
they certainly cannot have a bad match. I thought they were very good here.
They
I
just,
thought,
I feel like they didn't have the legs to go like to a great match like they've had. I feel like time and so they you know what they did? Crazy thought. They made it feel like a junior match that you would put on like any other show, like in the middle of the card, if that makes sense. Like kind of flying and stuff like that. They knew their spot, and
yeah,
I thought they did a good job making sure they put on a good little match there. Shout out Despy.
Hiromu wasn't wearing white in this match. Yeah, the match
Hiromu
itself
was wearing the stupid shorts though, and I hate those things. Oh
yeah,
my
the little
God.
like his
When he
capris.
shows up in those shorts, I'm like, oh, this match is gonna be worse.
He's wearing his little capris.
Yeah.
I wrote down my notes. Despy and Hiromu are good at wrestling, and the match is really good. What do you want from me?
That's a very fair note.
It is a this was a very good match. Oh man, what
It
do I
was a
expect?
very good match that I don't know. Desperado absolutely destroyed Hiromu with that J driller. Like
Yeah.
that looked nasty. I was like, okay. But yeah, a really good match. That again, no complaints here.
Yeah, if I had to give one disparaging
No, you
thing,
don't have to. You don't have to.
I don't have
Like,
to. The only thing is,
it's okay not to.
that's fair. The only thing I was going to say was it's not the best match in the rivalry again.
Oh no.
Of course not.
I thought it was better than the Wrestle Kingdom match they had a few years ago.
That's true. And yeah, I thought it was good. Where's Hiromu and El Despy go next here? I don't know. El Despy.
I never hear like Despy. I only hear Despy or El Desperado. I like combining them.
I like El Despy.
El Desperado's fighting Kanemaru.
Okay,
Which obviously
that should be good. I think honestly that should be good.
Yeah. Kanemaru had a great match with Hiromu last year. People don't talk about it enough. I mean, I don't know why you talk about it because it's like such a random thing to bring up, but I thought that match was really good. And Desperado and Kanemaru have the history. So
Kanemaru secretly good. Kanemaru.
Well, I mean, he was very good for like a long time in his career, and then he came to New Japan and like took a back seat to a lot of things. But yeah,
that's true. What was someone? I think someone online said that Tony Nese is the American Yoshinobu Kanemaru.
Someone's gonna think that's disrespectful, and
I think it was about Tony Nese.
That's probably me.
IWGP GHC 3-way match. Of course, this is David Finlay versus Moxley versus Will Ospreay. Ospreay leaving the company, Moxley in AEW, so of course he can't lose. So of course David Finlay picks up the win and becomes the inaugural GHC global heavyweight title holder. I couldn't really fit that one in there. David Finlay gets the win. I should say that we didn't talk about it here, but I guess we'll talk about it post-match here. Also involving in this sort of match, in the post-match angle here, Dolph Ziggler, former Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth, and Ryan Nemeth show up right before the tag match that we just talked about.
Just to swerve us all.
I wonder if it's a swerve, but also maybe they go do a challenge at some point down the line. Okay. I guess we'll see. But and then they eventually do a post-match angle with Ziggler and Finlay here. But what do you think about the match, Scotty? Because you and I have differing opinions on this match.
Well, I know it's your favorite match of the year, so
far, sure. It's only January 7th.
I thought it was good. I thought it was very good. I thought there was a lot to like about it. I thought Jon Moxley was the MVP of the match. I thought he was just absolutely fantastic. I can't stress this enough. Death Rider Jon Moxley, aka New Japan Jon Moxley, is so much better than AEW Jon Moxley. And this isn't me being like, people make the jokes of, oh, it's better because it was in the Tokyo Dome. He just fits so perfectly in New Japan. He does. Like his entire vibe, he looks like he cares more. I'm not saying he doesn't care in AEW. I just think he cares more in New Japan. I think he loves being there. If Tony Khan didn't need him to save him every 5 minutes, he would probably have more probably more Japan dates. I know he does every US New Japan show. Like, I think that's true. And listen, that wasn't me fully blaming Tony Khan. There's just been times that Jon Moxley has had to save AEW many times.
It's not Tony Khan's fault per se. It's the
Well,
things surrounding Tony Khan.
CM Punk might have been Tony Khan's fault. You know, just saying. But I think he fits so well in here. I want him involved in as many New Japan shows as possible moving forward. I think he does too. Like, he's not going to do the house shows. He's not going to do the tours, but he might come in and do their big shows from now on. I think that's his goal.
I wonder, like, to that point, I wonder what a world would have looked like
if AEW wasn't around and Jon Moxley was absolutely eaten up in New Japan. He'd be world champion.
Because he would have gone straight to New Japan probably still. I mean, that's pretty much what he did. AEW was kind of existing, kind of not at the time he entered the company, and then he went to New Japan G1 Climax. He probably would have stayed in New Japan for however long, and then probably been a heavyweight champion at some point. I don't know when.
We don't know. The wrestling world doesn't talk enough about how great Jon Moxley was in the trunks. That was his perfect look. I loved everything about that. He looked badass. He looked he looked grizzled and nasty. I don't know. There was just something so great about that whole combo. And he was great in this match. I feel like I should get back to the match itself. Dave Finlay did a good job. Ospreay did a good job. But where we differentiate, most importantly, is when those dogs showed up. When Gabe Kidd and Alex Coughlin showed up, I was just like, I'm done. And I rewatched it. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to be fair. I'm going to rewatch it when I'm not exhausted. I'm going to see how I feel. It still pissed me off because I was so into it. I was going, all right, here we go. And then they just come in and I'm like, because here's my point. If you were going to come into this match, why didn't you just do it at the beginning when Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay said, hey, we're going to kick your ass for 5 minutes?
Yeah. I will say, sorry, I was reading the comment and I missed your question there, but I was reading a comment. I will say that I feel like the War Dogs' involvement in this here match was a plot hole because it's like, why did they not come in earlier in this match? Why did they come in so late? The whole conceit of the match itself was, this is my big gripe with the match, right? And I loved it.
Match of the year.
It's my current match of the year, if you can believe it.
And
folks.
knowing how you rate, it's probably going to be match of the year for most of the year. I'm sorry, I had to make the joke. That's just fair. Because of the Jay White Okada one from last year.
But the whole conceit of this idea of the match was that Moxley and Ospreay have this sort of truce going into the match, right? This 5-minute truce or whatever.
Confirmed.
Seemingly, David Finlay knows this. He knows this because it happened right in front of him. Yet he chooses to not have the War Dogs' involvement immediately. Chooses seemingly to eat shit for 5 minutes straight.
Go through a table.
Go through a table.
Continue to eat shit.
And then 10 minutes later, when he's bleeding and everything and all this stuff, then have the War Dogs come out when he just can't get the win. Fascinating plot hole that doesn't make any sense, that raises more questions. But yeah, no, I mean, I get fully that the War Dogs don't make any sense. I don't think it makes sense the point they came in a match. If they came in, I will say this, if they came in at the very beginning and were involved in the very beginning and then he took them out and then the rest of the match happened as just this normal 3-way, I think the match would have been better, more logical, making sense. But I also think that it would almost have more of a House of Torture element if they were just involved immediately. So maybe there's that.
I just said it when they came in. That's exactly what I thought, anyways.
And that's fair. Having House of Torture and the War Dogs acting this way in the same company doesn't work. One of these teams has to become more tweener. One of these teams
are the same faction, technically.
Yeah, our House of Torture still Bullet Club? They don't even reference Bullet Club anymore.
I don't know, actually. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. But yeah, I will say though, despite that, I think their involvement makes sense. It's just the plot hole of when they came in. And I will say Ospreay doing a swanton to both of them, and then Alex Coughlin just getting caught in the table like he's in a bathtub. I thought was a hilarious visual and ruled. And I was like, nah, it's fine. I'm okay with it. It was fine. That was a funny visual.
Very this is gonna sound bad when I say it, but this was like probably like early 2010s, late 2010s, maybe like indie type three-way, like just good, well, like a high pace, everyone's doing something at once,
which are the three ways I love.
A lot of big kickouts. I think one of my other critiques was like there was a little bit too much no selling.
That's
like
fair.
there was a lot of that in this match, and I was like,
get that.
I know that's Moxley's thing, and I usually don't care, but I felt like everyone did it. I was like, weird. The one that got me was when Moxley hits the Death Rider, and then Ospreay hit the hidden blade out of it.
Yes. That spot is a continuation of spots that they did at Windy City Riot, at whatever the other match they had, the 4-way or whatever.
Ospreay spot, to be fair. He gets hit with a big move and then does that.
Yes. And the spot has always been, I believe that match, that spot specifically was a finish to one of the matches that they've had previously. And then the addition that they added on top of it was because there was a third person, they had Finlay throw Ospreay out and go for a pinfall. Which a very, very 2.9 E pinfall. I enjoyed it.
He's your wrestler of the year right now.
I think my wrestler of the year is Shuri right now. If you can believe it.
Nice.
I'll double check that, but if I'm not mistaken.
All right, end the year.
I enjoyed that spot because it's a spot. It was more of a callback than anything new, and sometimes that spot leads to the finish of Moxley breaking out of the Stormbreaker and then hitting his DDT, getting the win. Sometimes it's DDT, then Ospreay gets up and hits the hidden blade and gets the win. Here it was hidden blade, then Finlay throws him out. It was a previous finish of other matches, so I was okay with it. But I get what you're saying. I think for me, it's just I completely get what you're saying.
It was the icing on top of all the other no sells.
That's fair.
Really.
I think for me, it's like I get what you're saying. I share some of those.
I still thought the match was great. Like I'm not sitting here. I just didn't have it nearly as high as you, which we'll talk about the next match. And
I think it's fully because I share those cons that you have. They just didn't bother me as much.
Yeah, clearly.
I think that comes down to I love, me. I love fast paced 3-way action. This was 22 minutes. It didn't feel like 22 minutes. Everyone felt like they were involved constantly, and they weren't like one-on-one matches. And when it was a one-on-one match between Ospreay and Moxley, it made sense within the match because we just beat the shit out of David Finlay for 5 minutes straight. So all that stuff made sense to me, and I enjoyed that logic. There are the logic plot holes of the War Dogs. There's the underselling I get, but it didn't bother me as much as you, which is okay. It comes down to
Is it okay?
Yeah, it's preference, baby. That's what it comes down to.
Not okay. It's bothering me now.
Kazuchika Okada defeats Bryan Danielson in 23 minutes and 24 seconds. Scotty, I'll give you the floor.
Well, Ryan hated this match.
I did not hate
You should go first.
Okay, I'll go first. I thought this match was slightly disappointing. I liked the Forbidden Door match more.
Which is crazy.
Maybe it's because I'm a freakazoid. I don't know. Who knows?
Wow.
I think one of the things that about me and my wrestling enjoyment is my level of expectation going into a match and whether or not that gets met. Right.
That's why I'm shocked, because my level of expectation for the first match is so much higher and it missed so much more.
Yeah. And I think, and maybe I don't know what my level of expectation was at the time. I don't recall, but
I didn't think this one missed for my expectation. I just want.
I want to say it met my expectations last year, whereas this one was a little bit under. For example, like Tama Tonga versus Shingo, I had like almost no expectations, and that I thought was great in the moment because it super exceeded my expectations. It was unbelievably better than what I thought it would be. Just as an example. Here, I think it was not quite exactly what I wanted. And still a great match. Not to take anything away. Still a great match. That moment of Okada going for his classic dome dive to Bryan Danielson. Danielson counters into a flying knee. Ruled. That slap or pop or break or whatever it was of a rib cracking sound. Nasty as all hell. The thing that was missing for me was the build up to this match made it sound like it was going to be a blood feud revenge match, especially from Bryan Danielson's side. That, oh, I'm going to break your arm. I'm gonna
and that's what he tried to do.
And not to say that he didn't try. I'm not saying he didn't try to do that. I'm saying that everything that he did to get to that point, I felt that it wasn't enough fully for me to buy into it. I wasn't quite there. Not to say that he wasn't doing these things, not to say that he didn't do them well. I think he did all these things well. I thought the match was still great. I just wasn't fully as... I was walking in expecting a blood feud, and I didn't walk away from this match feeling satiated in that blood feud. I walked away being like, that was a great match, but it wasn't like we didn't resolve, I feel like, the exact moment. Maybe it was Okada's selling of his broken arm, quote unquote, that didn't quite get me there. I don't know what it was, but
that's crazy because that's what everyone's praising.
I know. I wasn't fully into it. Maybe, to be fair, maybe I need to watch the match again. Maybe I missed something and I wasn't paying attention. I don't know what it was, but I wasn't fully there as to everybody else, and that's fine. I think it's fine. I understand, folks, that I'm the low man on the totem pole here by giving this match 4 stars. I understand. Low man here.
The funny part of this, right, is that I'm not even like the high man. I like, if you weren't so low, I would be the low man.
Dave's the high man at 5.25. I saw that and I was like, no, not at 5.25.
I thought he was gonna give it 5. I expected 5. So I thought this match was great. I did. I thought Danielson's destruction of Okada, turning into Okada, getting pissed off and beating him up and going for his eye. Like, I thought that was all great. I thought Okada was a great seller in this match. My main reason that I don't have it where everyone else does is that I thought the ending was very sudden.
Yeah.
Like, very sudden. And that was like my biggest thing. Cause I rewatched this because, again, I watched this originally live and I was exhausted. And I was like, is there a reason I'm not at the full like 5 feeling like other people? So I gave it another shot, and I was like, oh, this is great, and I forgot when it ended. So when it ended again, I just was like left. I was like, oh, okay. Like I just feel like,
and I think that's where it was for me too, was like I walked away not feeling satisfied. I think it was an unsatisfying ending.
I just liked obviously the rest of it more, but I liked Okada selling. I thought he was great. But ultimately, like, and I thought Danielson was obviously great. But in the end, my biggest thing was like, I wanted him to kick out of a Rainmaker. Like, I want him to kick out of that Rainmaker because
I wanted Okada to hit a weak ass right arm Rainmaker, and then Danielson to kick out of it.
Like, I wanted. So what I wanted was like them to trade those back and forth, and I just feel like the closing stretch that I had in my mind didn't happen. Yeah, and like I thought there was a great, like I thought they were starting it and then it just ended.
Yeah,
I think
it also.
That was my critique of it.
I said blood feud, and maybe it's a more one-sided blood feud from Danielson. If the match had like, I forget what Continental Classic match it was, but it was the one, maybe it was like Andrade or something, where he rips off the Tracy Williams eye sling off of Bryan Danielson, and there was a bunch of blood underneath it. If that moment also happened here, I would have loved the match more. It just, I saw that visual earlier in a better way.
Yeah. Admittedly, in an Okada match, I was never expecting blood. So,
and that's fair. Fair. And maybe I shouldn't have, but that's the thing. Maybe I shouldn't have these expectations. But that's the problem.
It depends on the spot. Like, if it was Danielson versus like someone else,
sure.
But it's like Okada and Wrestle Kingdom, I highly doubt, especially because Moxley bled like a fish before that. So I was like, they're not going back to back. I do get it because like I was thinking like, oh, you know what would like probably bring this to the ultimate level if there was just a little blood. Like I wasn't looking for a gusher. I wasn't looking for a crimson mask.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying literally just right on the brow.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Again, but I get why they did it. My bigger thing was the closing stretch, but I also get why people have this as their no doubt unquestioned match of the year.
All-time classic, I'm hearing, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't disagree.
I
I
think
do disagree. I should say.
I get match of the year for people. I don't. I think the thing is they definitely have a better match in them still. Like, and I think some other people took that. I did see some people take that away with them. I still think it was great.
Which if I recall, that's what we said about the Forbidden Door match.
We both I've went up every time.
Yeah, because that was a great match, but there's a better match.
I rewatched the Forbidden Door match, and it did not hold up like I hoped. So because I kind of wanted to see like where am I at going into this, so that helped. I think more than anything. But I still think they have another 30. This match only went 22 minutes.
It went 23, 24.
It's one of those times I wanted a match to go longer.
Yeah,
I wanted 5 more minutes.
Yeah,
I really wanted 5 more minutes, but it was still great. Anyone listening to this may think I'm like crazy. I'm not. Like
you're the one. What was your star rating? To be
4.5.
Yeah, you went 4.5. I'm 4. So I think
it was my favorite match of the show.
People are gonna think I'm crazy. To be fair,
like it was in order. This Naito Sonata, and then the 3-way. So it was 4.5, 4 and 3/4, and then 4. I think I said 4.5 for Naito and Sonata earlier. I was wrong. I my bad. But overall, like that's how I felt about it. And I think anyone that has it as 5, I get it. Like, especially if you're a big fan of these, I am a big fan of these two. But like if you went into this and you had expectations set at a certain way and it delivered, then absolutely. I just really wanted more at the end.
And going back to that sort of expectations dialogue, the idea of like you and I walking away from Forbidden Door being like, that was a great match. There's a better match in them. Going in here, I'm expecting the better match. I'm expecting, maybe that little bit of blood on his brow. I'm expecting sort of I'm going to hit the Rainmaker, but because it's so weak of all the arm damage, Danielson's going to kick out. I'm expecting there's these all sort of bits, all the spots that you can think of in your head. And then when you get those, you get the sudden ending and everything. Because I had a slightly higher expectation, it hits lower because it didn't hit that expectation for me. And I get it. That's a personal thing. People can love this match. People can say all-time classic.
I thought it was great. That's my funny thing.
I'm still saying it was a great match.
Like it's like the way this conversation is going is making us sound like we were like 3.
I gave this match 2 stars. Go back to the dojo, Okada. Start over. No, I mean I'm still saying it's a great match. It's just like when I think of all-time classic, I think of Omega and Okada, and this was an Omega Okada for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think it's fair I think it's fair for me to say that.
Yeah.
And because it's fair for me to say that because it's my personal opinion and you can't change it, mother trucker.
I also don't think it was Omega Okada. Yeah. So I thought it was still great, but I think I always find it interesting when I don't fully agree with people, but I'm like, I still liked it.
Yeah.
I was like, I still really liked it. Like, there's probably some people out there that hated this, like hated every bit of it. And like, they're not speaking. I didn't hate it. I rewatched it. I still loved it. I still love what they did, but it's just the ending that I needed the back and forth trades. I needed the Rainmaker and it's weak, and I needed the trade. I wanted the lefty Rainmaker. Script Sampson put it in my head and I never got it. I was pissed about it. I needed all those different things, but that's just a me problem. And like you said, it's a you problem. And you know what? I'll live with that with the rest of my life. I'm sorry, folks.
Man, I'm fine with it. I'm okay.
I'm fine with it too.
I'm okay not being fully invested in the match while everyone else. I'm okay being.
I just sat here saying I didn't love the 3-way, and you did. It's like whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't have a different feeling about it.
Yeah.
Everyone
We
sees
all
wrestling differently. That's the beauty of this. That's the beauty of all this.
exactly. Well, we've already been going for almost an hour and a half. We have only talked about Wrestle Kingdom, so we have to blast through.
Kind of expected that, to be fair. AEW pay-per-views take that long.
That's fair. So I'll blast through real quick. Some quick notes about New Year Dash. This is I'm taking these quick notes from Ethan Rayner of the Wrestling Observer, F4W Online. Moxley and Shingo have a no DQ match set up for Battle in the Valley. We'll talk about that more in a moment. Brian Danielson had some conversation about Zack Sabre Jr. Between each other, so they're hinting at a Zack Sabre Jr. versus Brian Danielson rematch. Maybe they talk about tapping each other out, so maybe some sort of submission thing. Will Ospreay made an official challenge for his last New Japan match ever, which will be February 11th, the New Beginning Osaka, which is confusing because I thought part of his AEW contract allowed him to wrestle in New Japan more. Now he's saying his last New Japan match. Interesting. But it's going to be a steel cage 10-man match on February 11th, New Beginning Osaka. Post Tanahashi's defense of the TV title, it was fully announced that Matt Riddle is coming into the company and challenging Hiroshi Tanahashi for the New Japan World TV title. Sonata officially challenged Tetsuya Naito for saving him and allowing the roll call to happen. So we'll get that match down the line. Sonata versus Naito Part 2. Evil attacked Tama Tonga and cut Tonga's hair. So maybe we get a title versus hair match, maybe something like that. That's kind of what we're building up to, maybe. Fujita, Shane Hayes, and Mikey Nichols of TMDK challenge Okada, Ishii, Hiroshi Tanahashi for the never openweight 6-man tag team titles. Kanemaru versus Despy. Phantasmo and Hikuleo looks like it's going to be Chase Owens and Kenta. Taiji Ishimori.
I just want you to know that I will not be watching that.
I'm not shocked.
Not a chance, no.
Taiji Ishimori wins the KOPW 2024 championship. And the Oscar Lube and Yoto Nakashima, those young lions, are officially being sent out on their excursion. We have yet to know where they are being sent. So any other thoughts there between anything for the New Year Dash notes there, Scotty?
I'm amped up about Dolph Ziggler in New Japan.
Yeah, I didn't talk about Dolph Ziggler. We didn't talk him that much.
I just realized I forgot about that, but that's like my big thing. Like, I don't know why. Like, the last time I watched Dolph Ziggler was probably this random ass WWE match that I was like, whatever, who cares? But there's just something about a guy who's willing to take interesting dates. He's going to Australia in the summer. He's doing Puerto Rico to start off. And he's going to Japan. And I just think I think his
fully gimmick is I'm here to show the world. And so he's going to as many international dates as possible.
Yeah. And I don't know. I thought his promo was really good in the press conference when he attacked Finley and chased him off. He's playing this very dedicated, I want to be a champion type guy. And then he's like, I don't even work here. I don't know why I'm getting so worked up about this. And I was like, I think this is going to be good. I really do. I think it's going to work. I know some people may not think that just because they see Dolph Ziggler and it's like, meh, after all this time. And I get that. But for a company that's lost a lot of international talent, I think this is a good turnaround. I think you should still be bringing in younger ones as well because you need to build them up. But for an immediate, maybe 2024 guy, I'm not complaining. I'd be really interested to see how he does when he does eventually get that match, and hopefully more. I'd like to see him do more than just the one match.
Look, New Japan needs more international talent. I am more than happy to bring in a guy like Dolph Ziggler. He's still going to put on a good match, I think. When he's motivated, he can still put on good to great matches. What I am going to complain about is the international talent they bring in named Matt Riddle and have him face Tanahashi. Someone that they were, if he was originally going to come in here in this company before he went to WWE, that would have been fun. That would have been interesting. Here, post after all of this stuff with Matt Riddle, get him out of my sights. It's going to be frustrating. It's already frustrating. He's already booked for at least 2 matches.
Oh, he's not going anywhere, bro.
He's not going anywhere. And it's
The
all
bro
about...
was very much a specific joke. Yes. Thank you for asking.
He's not going anywhere. And unless us New Japan fans say something like we did previously with Chris Dickinson, as we said previously with Marty Scurll, and that almost happened. This is like the 3rd time where they're officially getting someone in the door that's arguably, I'm not even arguably, but way bigger star than the other 2 guys. The fans have to say something. I would presume New Japan will hear us fans. We have to say something. I don't like Matt Riddle in the company. I would much rather have 2 Dolph Zigglers than I would have 1 Matt Riddle. But let's talk about
perfections. Here's the thing. I think Riddle's gonna stick. No matter what.
I think that's my fear as well. Battle in the Valley is taking place this Saturday, January 13th out of San Jose, California. We got 2 kickoff matches: Matt Vandegrift versus Goldie and Viva Vaughn versus Stephanie Vaquer
in a number 1 contenders match for the strong women's title.
Correct.
I've convinced myself Vaquer is winning this belt.
I think it makes sense. I think it's
someone they clearly want on their shows, based off of the fact that she has pretty much been booked for every strong U.S. show since CML started to come in full time on these.
Yep.
They're just making matches for her, right? Like they got her, so they got her on the tournament against Mercedes Moné. She obviously impressed there.
That was her debut.
Then they put her in a random tag. Then she challenged Mayu for the belt, and now they're putting her in another opportunity to get back to the belt. I think they're going to give her the strong, and I think that's a great spot for her.
When does Julia leave again?
March.
Okay, so
possibly April.
So let's say maybe
I think she makes it to the Chicago thing.
Julia
Windy City Riot. Yeah.
Okay, so let's say Windy City Riot, Julia versus Stephanie Vaquer. She wins it. I mean, if you want to do it earlier, I was going to say night 1 of New Beginning Sapporo, which is the night, a couple nights right after Fantastica Mania.
I mean, I have no problem just doing it in Japan.
I'll watch it no matter what.
Like, I think that would be very good. Here's the thing with Julia. Obviously there's been a lot of reporting about her and when she's going to go and how long she's going to stick around. I guess the latest report is she's going to leave, but study English for the rest of the year and then go to WWE, which is good on her. But it sure does sound like that her dates are going to be done in March. I think she stretches it to April, just because there's so many big events in April, including the Stardom US show, the Windy City Riot show, and what's the other one? Oh, and Stardom's like big Buntai show. I feel like that would be the send off for her. I don't know that for sure. I just think like it's reasonable to think she agrees for 1 more month and then leaves, but we'll see. But I think, if they want to wait till Windy City Riot, it's very possible she'll be in the US for the week before. So why not?
It's a question of we still have a vague idea of where Julia.
No, it still feels like we're kind of somewhat guessing. I think we kind of know she's leaving. We know that she's not going to go to WWE immediately, but it's like, when is that official last day? And that's what we're waiting on, right?
Yeah. Battle in the Valley, I'll walk through this card reading, and if you have any thoughts, lay them out. First match, Shota Umino, Fred Rosser, and Jacob Fatu coming to this company. 6-man tag versus Team Filthy, Tom Lawler, Royce Isaacs, and Jorel Nelson. I'm a big fan of Fatu getting the spot. If he was able to leave America, I think he'd be a great addition to the New Japan roster and a great international star to bring in. Second match, Mascarada Dorada, Volador Jr. versus Rocky Romero and Soberano Jr. Don't forget, Soberano Jr. has apparently signed a 1-year contract with New Japan as well. So I'm going to expect Rocky and Soberano getting the win.
That match is going to be good. I'm really looking forward to that one. That's the type of CMLL match I want on these shows.
Mm-hmm. And all 4 of these guys, this is sort of also a preview for Fantastica Mania. All 4 of these guys are going to be in it.
Rocky better be over there for that, by the way.
He is. He was already announced.
Oh, he is? Okay. I didn't remember the lineup.
Third match, TJP versus David Finlay. Not announced as a GHC title match yet.
Stop calling it that. Global.
Not announced as a global title match yet, but maybe. New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team title match. This is just announced right now as New Japan Strong Tag titles.
Yep.
Don't know if it's anything else. El Phantasmo and Hikuleo versus Alex Coughlin and Clark Connors. It was announced recently also that Alex Coughlin and Clark Connors, specifically, both their New Japan contracts are up. So
that both of them are now teaming.
Yes, so let's little circle on that one there. The New Japan Strong Women's title match, Julia doing her 8th defense against Trish Adora, Ring of Honor's Trish Adora. Matt Riddle and X versus Zack Sabre Jr. and Bad Dude Tito.
I know you want to blow through this preview. I do, but who the hell do you think X is?
I don't know. At this rate, Marty Scurll, I don't know.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, Riddle versus Tito would be a good matchup, and then Zack Sabre Jr. versus Marty Scurll, of course.
Shout out to the Bad Dude Tito. Hot take, not a hot take. It would have been once upon a time. I never thought Marty Scurll was all that good. Anyways, this sucks because I'm pretty sure TMDK is losing, which I hate.
We just said Bad Dude Tito take the fall.
Why the young punks gotta lose?
Yeah.
Why the young punks gotta lose? Love Bad Dude Tito. He's gonna take the fall.
I think whoever the X is, it's someone new. It's someone new. I don't think it's someone we've necessarily...
Is it gonna be Elijah? That's off. That's off. Move on.
God, no.
Walk with Elijah.
Here's an outside one. Would Shelton Benjamin be interesting?
Oh, that would be interesting to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why I team with Matt Riddle, but maybe it's just a way to debut him.
Well, like maybe Shelton. Okay, so Shelton Benjamin obviously being in New Japan previously, he was part of Suzuki-gun. Zack Sabre Jr. no longer part of Suzuki-gun. Maybe Riddle, if he would have come in, would have been part of Suzuki-gun. These are my long stretches that I can make.
You just killed like so many Suzuki-gun fans with that one.
Yeah, maybe it's that. Maybe it's Riddle-gun.
Mostly the Riddle part.
AEW Continental Crown.
Triple Crown Championship. Say it like the graphic says.
The graphic just here says AEW Continental Crown, and I'm looking at the schedule on.
I'm looking at the graphic. It says Triple Crown Championship.
It says Triple Crown Championship. It shows the New Japan Strong title, and on NJPW 1972 schedule it says AEW Continental Crown. Great. Eddie Kingston versus Gabe Kidd. Great.
They had a great match 2 years ago before Gabe Kidd disappeared again.
Mm-hmm. We already talked about it. John Moxley versus Shingo, a no DQ match.
Yeah.
And then Kazuchika Okada versus Will Ospreay.
I wonder who's winning that one. Just kidding. No, I'm not.
This card, honestly, is really good. I really enjoy this card.
Better top to bottom than last year.
I agree.
And last year had big three matches. Right? Had Mercedes and Kyrie, which was great. Had Tanahashi and Okada, and then it also had Jay White and Eddie Kingston, which was really good. But other than that, I remember nothing really. Being on it. I feel like this is like a complete card where you kind of want to see every match, or at least have some interest in every match. Unlike that one. So
we got some other Japanese show quick hitters that we're going to talk about here. Let's talk about first, because we have some news associated kind of with it. We'll talk about first All Japan. We didn't talk about last week at the end of the year, their Mania X show. Where, of course, the main event being the Triple Crown title match, Katsuhiko Nakajima defeats Kento Miyahara. And that spun off into, of course, the New Year Giant Series Night 2, where the Triple Crown title was defended once more with Nakajima defending it against Charlie Dempsey from NXT. So give me some quick, cold takes on the Mania X show and your thoughts on the Charlie Dempsey match, if you have seen it.
Kento Nakajima rocked. Not really a shock there. Fantastic
Not
match.
a shock whatsoever.
No. I
So
can't
good.
wait for their third match because Kento's going to win eventually, and it's going to be the best one because of that.
Yeah.
But that was such a good second match. You know, like every match needs to have something, and I thought that was like the perfect second match. Obviously, it's a shock that Kento loses, but Kento taps out. I can't wait until the blow off match because these two are just so good together. Charlie Dempsey.
I totally agree, by the way, that every time there's a second match in a great rivalry, just apropos of nothing that we've discussed already, anytime there's a great second match, there really needs to be something new to it. Anyways, you were saying?
Well, yeah, tap out. Well, technically there was something new. But no, but like if you're gonna have Nakajima win, you need to have it be like in a shocking fashion. I think that's what they do. He is the most hated heel in Japan right now. He's
the most interesting wrestler in the world right now.
He came out to Onoki.
I know
with Snoopy
in all Japan.
It was insane. Like it was just so good. It was just so good, and I can't wait to see what's next with him. I know he's fighting Ashino, which should be really good. And I saw some people say Ashino should win. I was like, absolutely not. You ride this hot wave with Nakajima. He should not be losing. This is the Nakajima that I desperately missed.
Yes.
For the better part of pretty much ever since he lost the title to Fujita.
What should happen is Nakajima has great defenses all the way through.
Kento wins the carnival to get it.
I was going to say Kento wins the carnival, and then they do that match. And then
come on.
That's what we do, folks.
All Japan. It's right there. It's right there. You just got to do it. Like Ashino makes sense because Ashino won the carnival last year, then got hurt. So he should be getting a title match. But Nakajima is gonna knock down all your saviors before Kento is the ultimate savior, because that's what all. By the way, the Dempsey match, I wasn't a big fan of it. I know a lot of people liked it.
I think I did 3 1/4. I was like, that's pretty good. It's fine.
I was very bored in the first half.
I think it was a match that, like, looking back on it, it's like a match Charlie Dempsey surely needs to have at some point, but a 20-minute match that he's not ready for. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I was like, you know what would be really cool?
Dunk on him.
If Dempsey, I don't know, had a Japan tour, long term. And I think that's the reason he got this match. I know WWE is looking for allies or whatever.
We'll get to that.
in Japan. But my big thing is I think that William Regal wanted his kid to go to Japan.
I think that might have been part of what this was, especially since we also got the announcement that Takeshita is coming into All Japan.
Which is so sick, by the way.
Yeah.
DDT is doing Takeshita versus Aoyagi on some show. I have no idea what show it is. And I was like,
what are the odds? What are the odds we get Nakajima Takeshita?
They're both heels, unfortunately.
I know.
Konosuke Takeshita, he changed his name to Konosuke Takeshita in all caps when he's in Japan. And I think it's very funny. I just think it's like, you have to call me by my American explanation here, right? It's like, Takeshita's so good. I know we forget that. Not we, but
I also thought Dan Tamura, Al Lindemann, their junior heavyweight title match was pretty good. I also really enjoyed the Saito match. I watched that.
Yeah, that was good too.
But yeah, I think All Japan. I think it was a solid start for in-ring. Let's say in-ring solid start. The president got booed quite a bit in those shows.
Deservedly so. I'm looking for this upcoming weekend is the Nakajima tag title match because he won the tag league.
Yep.
Where he drags Hokuto Omori with him. And then at the end of the month is the Ishino match. So still lots to look forward to, I think, in All Japan right now, with Nakajima being the obvious reason why.
I Love Dogs wrote a little while ago, I love how Meltzer said WWE was looking for Japanese allies like it was World War II. A great segue into the next topic. WWE looking for quote-unquote Japanese allies. Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter wrote, that Triple H was looking at Japanese allies going forward. Step one of that plan was NXT working with All Japan. WWE is looking for a women's promotion to align with as well. And there has been talk internally within WWE about attempting to work with New Japan.
Yeah, good luck, buddy. The company that is more loyal than any company in the world. This is the company that when CMLL was like on the brink of like extinction, they're like, yeah, we're staying with them, baby.
Yeah.
We may not get anything from it, but we're staying with them, baby.
Who is also now working with AEW as well as an American.
That's my point. Like, they're not going to break away from AEW because WWE is like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, I don't think New Japan is going to be in the books, but if you're looking at Noah, All Japan, Tokyo Joshi Pro, where there's concerns here, right?
Technically, TJPW works with AEW, so
true. That is true.
Riho is just on their show, so
that is true. So maybe Tokyo Joshi Pro is safe. Maybe it'd be something more like what's Satomura's?
They should just take. Yes, that would make the most sense, just because of Satomura. But you know what? Whatever. They can drew.
Yeah. If you're any Japanese company, there was someone I wrote about this where someone said I was a clown for thinking this.
Yeah.
Way.
Yeah. You tell them.
If you're a Japanese company, and you seeing this news, tell WWE kindly, very kindly, go up to Triple H and very kindly say, "Fuck off." We saw what they have done throughout the history of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
The moment you start being like, oh, let's ally, let's work together. They do not want to work together. They will go into your country and they will strip you for parts.
Yeah.
We saw that. We saw it with the territories. We saw it with England a couple years ago.
Yeah, WWE. The funny thing about WWE is they can't make inroads in these companies, but they can ruin things. That's the problem, right?
And they have, and they will,
right? Like, they're not going to become like a force in Japan, but they can ruin one of the companies. Yeah, easy. They ruin things. Like, WWE is so hot right now, and I know like people have turn a blind eye to like who they are. I know Vince doesn't technically run the everyday there anymore. I don't care. They're still. The entire company still Vince pilled.
And can we talk about that? NXT UK is never coming back, right?
No, that's dead, baby.
Wanted. They got what they wanted. They went into England, stripped it for parts, said, "Oh, we're going to promote everything, do NXT UK." They stripped everything for parts of the company, and then when they got whatever was good, when the pandemic was a perfect time for them to cut NXT UK loose, they cut that loose, shipped everyone to Florida, and then called it a day. And then a year or so later, we're moved on, and it's not going to come back at any point.
Right, and the scene's still trying to bounce back from it, obviously.
Yeah, the only promotion doing anything of worth in that country is Rev Pro. A second is maybe like WXW, and that is still a far cry because they're still recovering from when they were stripped for parts by WWE. It's Japan has to stay away. And I get the temptations because All Japan needs more money. And obviously the president would love to work with WWE, but they cannot do that. And I'm not the only American saying this. Scotty's the other American saying this. But it doesn't matter what we think when you also have Japanese fans hearing the news and booing the president of All Japan outright about Charlie Dempsey just being there.
Now,
it's not just America; it's Japan. Is like,
which is really funny. Like, really funny because if you watch the Dempsey Nakajima match, they cheered for him just because they hate Nakajima.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure
which tells you how heel he is. Yeah, right.
I'm sure part of it is also being nice to the wrestler. He's not the guy.
No,
he's not part of this.
Nakajima is the guy that they hate. I like that better. But Dad, get out of here.
Yeah, no one
wants you here.
No, I mean Noah might be fine with it.
That's who I expected, and then All Japan did it. So I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's interesting that they said step one was NXT working with All Japan. I was like, that's one match. I don't know if I would say working with All Japan. I don't think NXT, you had an NXT wrestler in All Japan. You haven't had like, I don't know, Yumo Anzai show up in the Performance Center yet. So I guess, We'll see.
Stay away from him.
Yeah, I'm. Meanwhile, Kaito Kiyomiya is like, "Hey guys, hey, can I? Is anyone available for look at my matches? I wore yellow at Wrestle Kingdom, yellow and black. You know, NXT.
He's so good.
Oh, Kaito. Speaking of Kaito, let's talk about real quickly, just very cold thoughts on Noah New Year. It's probably the last time we talk about Noah for quite a while. What a show, right? What a show. They had maybe one great match, maybe two. I haven't seen the semi-main of the GHC heavyweight title, but the most newsworthy event coming out of the show, obviously, is the singles match between Kota Ibushi and Naomichi Marufuji, going 33 minutes and 26 seconds with Ibushi. I mean, we talked about it before. We talked about it since he returned at GCW, that he was a shadow of his former self. This is not a shadow of a former self. This is a guy that simply cannot wrestle anymore. Scotty, you've seen the match for sure. Please let the people know how sad was this match to watch.
It's probably the most sad I've ever been watching a match. It just he shouldn't have been in there. And that's pretty clear. If you read his tweets, if you read what's going on, he obviously didn't know the full extent and thought he could work, but he should have just never been allowed to work as is. And he made it worse with what I think is the saddest match of the year and will be the saddest match of the year. He is a wrestler. Like, you have to remember, like, with these wrestlers, like, they're very prideful and they're determined to deliver and show up and stuff like that and be great at their craft. But you watch Kota Ibushi even just make his way down to the ring and you're like, this isn't the guy that helped me get into, Puro and Japanese. Like, Ibushi was a big guy that helped me get into that. And you watch him and it's just so sad. It's so sad. It's not what I expected him to look like. Like, I just thought like he could have fought his way through it and made it fine, but this was so bad. It was so bad. I said it to you, like, it took me all year last year to find a dud match, and I found one at the end of the year. It took me 2 days this year, and I don't even look at it like that. I look at it as, I hope he gets the help. I hope he really does actually take care of himself, because that's what's most important right now. It's not wrestling for him. And I just hope that he knows that this, what the saddest part of this was? It wasn't even the match for me. It was Kaito and Jake Lee having to go down there and pretty much telling him to leave. Like, that was the saddest part. I was like, man, oh man, what happened? What happened? And hopefully he gets better. Hopefully he's okay. And that's probably the last of Kota Ibushi and Noah, if I had to guess.
Yeah, he has since announced that he is taking surgery on his ankle. He also said he had a hurt hand, but I don't think he said anything about whether or not he's taking surgery for that. So far in Cage Match, out of 169 votes, a 0.78 in Cage Match's history of ratings. It's the 50th worst match.
It's the second lowest Japanese match of all time, behind the Ak Yasukawa Yoshiko match.
Yeah. I believe that is correct. I'm looking over it right now. I believe that is correct. Yeah, the second worst Japanese match of all time, according
and those two matches are very different for obvious reasons. There's a reason that Ak Yasukawa and Yoshiko is where it is. So that really speaks to just how bad this was.
According to Cage Match, a match between Jacqueline and Disco Inferno in 1997 WCW is a little bit better than this match. just to put it in perspective, EC3 versus Tyrus is better than this match.
We don't have time to talk about NWA. Move forward. You wouldn't bring it up.
That's incredibly sad.
If you want, if you're listening to this and you for some reason you don't, maybe check my match guide. The two matches I'd recommend are the GHC heavyweight and Kiyomiya versus Ishii.
Yeah, 100%. That Kiyomiya Ishii match also ruled.
When Kiyomiya started bleeding, I was like, ah! And then he lost. So I was like, fuck.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
I expected he was losing before the match started, but I was like, this match would have been so much better if he won.
Yeah. Last two bits before we go is Stardom. Had several shows throughout the course of the week. Their New Year Star shows, their Ideon Stardom Gate. What's that?
You want me to storm through this since I know everything off the top of my head?
Go for it.
All right. So they had Triangle Derby and Rookie Derby at New Year's Stars at Yokohama Budokan. We saw God's Eye not only win the tournament, but win the tag, the trios belts, which was a very welcome change. I thought this is something they should have done originally for Mirai and Ami Sourei, is have them work closely with Shuri in a big title setting. I think this is going to do them a lot of good. I think it was obviously the right move. And I thought the tournament was fine, especially as a one night thing. It's like, whatever. I think they're the perfect scenario where they can stretch it maybe to 2 nights just so that, and put like the finals on like a Korakuen or something. Just so that
the Triangle Derby.
Yeah, because like they did like countouts and stuff to like get to the final, because they didn't want to have their wrestlers overwork or anything, which I get. But you know, I think there's something to do that can make it feel like a full quick tournament. But overall, like, I'm fine with this just being it, truthfully, if that's the case.
Also the start of DDM and their eventful week as well, losing.
Yes. So they dropped the belts, which I was hoping for anyways. I didn't want the double title reign anymore for Julia. I think the artist belts can be a very big bright spot in Stardom, and that was kind of another one of the problems last year, especially in the second half. They kind of disappeared. The Yuzuki won the Rookie of Stardom tournament, which is a big deal. That is a tournament that's been won by many of their, wrestlers that would go on to be great. The last person to win was, of course, Saya Kamitani. So it gives you a kind of an idea of where they see Yuzuki. She continues to pull off wins here, show after show after show. She is someone they're very behind. For example, their show on Sunday, which is today, the rookies beat a team that had Azumi on it. So they're really getting behind this crew. They are all in on this crew. They're all in on Yuzuki, and that's exciting to see. I think if you're trying to get into Stardom, this is the time. They have a bunch of new crop. Julia's on her way out, and I know that's tough for a lot of people, but it's time for others to step up. And then the next day was the Etion Stardom Gate 2024 show, the first time ever. Sold out. 1,500 plus in attendance, absolutely packed house.
Those pictures looked great.
Yeah, so I saw that. I was like, well, they're doing this again. And there was 2 big parts to this show. Most of it was just pretty much like basic tag matches. I will say one thing that was really nice about this show is everyone looked really happy, like just to see the crowd. And after these past couple hard months, this felt like their reward in many ways. Is like, you guys deserve this. You guys deserve like this great crowd that's into the show and so on. But yeah, the pictures look great. I think they were expecting something else. It looks like the walk up was incredible because the lights were out for like around the ring. I think they were because if you checked the website before, they only sold out a few sections. Looks like the walk up was incredible, which is awesome to see for them. And mind you, TJPW is having their big Etion show at Korakuen Hall just down the street. And they sold out as well. So big day for Joshi ahead of Wrestle Kingdom. But the big things from here, obviously, was after the really good semi-main event between Julia Suzuki versus Micah and Megan Bain. Donna Del Mondo officially disbanded. Julia calling it off, saying she wanted to be a lone wolf. Ultimately, this is Stardom getting ahead of her ultimate exit from the company, and I think it was the right move. Here's the thing.
I also believe I also believe later she said that she's going to eventually challenge Micah before she quits.
Yes, yes, that's a big win for Micah that they want to give her, which is the right move to do. So my thought on this is DDM once was like the end all be all in Stardom. It was absolutely packed. Micah, Hameka, Shuri, Natsupoi. That was the core. And ever since it started to lose all these people, and once Hameka retired, I didn't think the group really had the same need. So like when it ended, I was more sad about what it was than what it was currently. And ultimately, I think it was the right move to just get rid of it because DDM doesn't exist without Julia. I firmly believe that. You don't want Micah or Suzu running that. You want a new group for them to really make a name for themselves. This isn't like, the Queen's Quest of the world where, you can go from Io to Momo to Utami. This isn't Oedo Tai where you could switch it up. No, they want something new, and DDM had a great 4-year run. One of the other big notes here is that Tekla's headed home. She will not be around for a while. She's going to rest. She had a neck injury, which is probably just, long-term build-up. It's probably nothing like really bad because she wrestled on this show. But it's something to heal and take time away. So hopefully she does come back. But yeah, the big news obviously is that the steps are being taken for the Julia exit, which you kind of have to do. I'm happy they're getting ahead of it, truthfully. I think that's very important.
As they should.
You should be wanting to get ahead of it. And
if
then
you have a known end date that's a couple months out, you need to do everything in your booking power to ensure that she puts over as many people as possible.
Absolutely. It's going to be tough because there's not a lot of time. So they're going to have to be smart. And because they have, here's my thing. They have to have her put over Micah and Suzuki. Those are the two people you have to have her put over. Everyone else is like a benefit, but those two you need to. And she hopefully will by the end of this. She needs to get rid of that stupid title, though.
I was going to say, and she also has to lose the title. Maybe against Micah or Suzuki, but she also has to lose the title.
I'm hoping they just send Stephanie Vaquera to Japan in February. That's best case, I think. Have her lose it at a New Japan show. Don't even have to think about it. And then in the main event, it was Mayu Iwatani defeating Shuri for the IWGP Women's title. I thought this was the best IWGP Women's title match to date. I love this match. That is my snow moving outside. So if you start hearing crashing and banging, there is plows and stuff. So I apologize. But I thought this was fantastic. I thought they were getting 10 minutes because there was a hard end at this show, they said. And I was like, fuck. that DDM stuff took way too long. And then because they were going so fast, like the pace was crazy in the first 10 minutes. And then they kept going. This was Mayu being pure killer mode rather than the underdog, which you don't see much. Sure, you felt like the underdog. I don't see that ever. I thought this was great. A great championship match. And these two shows, plus the Korakuen on Saturday, which has Saya Kamatani and Starlight Kid as the first contenders for the Wonder and World to start the year off. Like, this is as good as it gets for Stardom to start off the year. The complete opposite of last year. And next week, Aphrodite is defending the titles against Suzuki and Mei Sarah on a house show. So we're back to doing that because it's not as many pay-per-views.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Stardom I remember being red hot. This is the Stardom I need to be red hot. I think they know. Listen, the Stardom roster didn't mess up. I think the Stardom management, Bushi Road management, they know where they messed up, and they're trying to get back hot. And it really does feel like they're doing it, considering they did like over 5,000 tickets on a 4-day Tokyo loop. Pretty much, like that's a lot of shows, a lot of big shows in there. That is an absolute home run, and I'm very excited for the future, folks. Lots of good going on right now.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think they're as hot as they once were.
No, they're trying to get back.
They are making lots of great progress, lots of great steps to get back to that.
Big strides.
Yeah,
you could, they could have taken baby steps. Feels like it's big stride after big stride. Helps the rosters getting healthy too.
Mm-hmm. It's one giant leap for Stardom kind.
It's gonna be tough. They got to do it without Julia.
Yeah, that's why like that they have to do as much as they can with Julia so that they're prepared once she leaves. Last bit of info before we go. TNA Hard to Kill is also having a pay-per-view this Saturday, January 13th, live on pay-per-view on Triller.tv.
How am I supposed to watch all this?
Former Fight and TNA Plus. Saturday, January 13th, Las Vegas, Nevada. This is the first pay-per-view in TNA's history. We kind of talked about it if you listen to our bonus episode where we talked about the
first pay-per-view in TNA history.
New in modern TNA history, let's say. We sort of kind of talked about it when we talked about our bonus show for Ring Post Radio of state of wrestling in 2023 and what we look for in 2024. Hard to know exactly what Impact TNA is going to look like, and this show will do a lot, we would assume, to tell us what TNA is going to look like. Sure. But the card itself is an interesting one that sets up whatever that might be. So
that's
the card
certainly
itself,
a word for it.
Yeah, the card itself, the main event, TNA World Title match, Alex Shelley defending against Moose. Knockouts World Title match, Trinity defending against Jordan Grace after Jordan Grace won.
We know Trinity's leaving.
We know Trinity is on her way out at some point, I assume now.
End of January was the latest report from Fightful Select.
So we assume Jordan Grace is probably going to win here.
I like that. I know we're trying to get out of here, but I'm just going to add a little notes to it. I like Jordan Grace getting the belt back.
Yeah, I wish that in hindsight, knowing that Trinity was leaving, I wish that Impact had Trinity lose more because she's undefeated as well. I hope because putting over the only person they have, and it's Jordan Grace, someone who doesn't need to be put over, to me is not ideal. I think it's better for her to put over other people like a Giselle Shaw or I don't know who else, but Masha even. I'll take anybody
in
else.
A world where she doesn't have the tag ups.
Natasha Steeles, maybe. Some other people other than Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace doesn't need it, but alas, Jordan Grace will get it, which probably defeats Trinity. But that's besides the point. A X Division title match that's very interesting. Chris Sabin, TNA signed Kushida and El Hijo del Vikingo in a triple threat match. That looks really good. First time ever showdown between Josh Alexander and Alex Hammerstone.
I don't know how to feel about that.
I'm fine with it. Alex Hammerstone leaving MLW, not officially signed with TNA, but maybe he will be after this match. Who knows? I'm okay with it. Hammerstone's gotten a lot better in MLW, so I'm gonna wait and see. But I'm okay with it.
If they just run into each other, I might be in.
TNA World Tag Team Title match 4-way. ABC, Chris Bay and Ace Austin defending their titles against the Rascals, Mike Bailey and TNA signed Trent Seven. And the Grizzled Young Vets. Very excited about the Grizzled Young Vets. Grizzled Young Vets not signed yet, so hopefully they win and they get signed. That's what I want to see.
I really don't like Trent Seven, but
I know
everything else in this match should be pretty good.
Knockouts Ultimate X match on the line. I assume this is also like sort of a number one contenders match here. Tasha Steeles, Alicia Edwards, Giselle Shaw, Jody Threat, Zaya Brookside, and newly signed to TNA, Danny Luna.
If Giselle Shaw isn't winning, then what is the point of the match?
I don't know. I don't.
Like, I look at this lineup. She feels like the only person that's winning.
Yeah. It's not a great lineup. Zaya Brookside is coming in. Dana Luna's coming in. Alicia Edwards is not that good. Jody Threat is new, but still very new. Tasha Steeles and Giselle Shaw are like the only reputable people, but Tasha Steeles is cold as hell.
I think Dana Luna is going to be good for TNA long term, but
I agree. To that.
Putting people in an Ultimate X match is never my first recommendation.
Let alone these six. A monstrous challenge being deemed by TNA here. PCO versus Dirty Dango. Yeah, baby. Get
0% chance I watch this.
Get into it.
This is going to be the part of the show next week when Ryan's like, did you watch anything? I was like, I was not watching this match.
They are still touting that worlds will collide. You won't believe who is showing up. So someone that they have seemingly signed to TNA will be showing up on this show.
Well, Dolph Ziggler isn't signed to. He isn't on Battle in the Valley,
And he is here to show the world.
so maybe this will be his home.
How do we feel about that?
I rather him be in New Japan.
There's also the Countdown Hard to Kill. It has Rich Swann versus Steve Macklin, Tommy Dreamer versus Crazy Steve in a digital media title match, and a tag team match of Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers versus Eric Young and Frankie Kazarian.
Why is Rich Swann and Steve Macklin on the pre-show?
I don't know. I don't know. When can Steve Macklin get out of TNA and join his wife in AEW? I'll take that. I'll take Steve Macklin in AEW.
I don't know what he would do in AEW. It's very packed over there.
That's fair. But if him versus like Adam Page in like a blood feud Texas death match.
Okay, but that's one match.
I know, but that would rule. You can't deny that it won't rule.
You think they would book that?
Yeah, I don't know.
It would rule though. I'll give you that.
That's Hard to Kill. An interesting pay-per-view. I don't know what this spells.
Come back and Ryan couldn't want to get through it quicker.
I don't know what this spells for the future of TNA, but it's something. It's something. All right.
Hey, you're total nonstop Ryan in the year 2024. You got to pump us up. You can't be hurting us on this.
That's true. Hey, it's going to be good. We got going to be a great match with Jordan Grace. Alex Shelley always delivers. Hammerstone has been doing great work in ML Dub, so he's coming in, leaving that train wreck of a company to come into TNA. Leaguer. Former major leaguer. Train wreck of the company.
You're a forever major leaguer. You're a forever major leaguer. Come on.
We got good stuff. It's TNA. Good. It's TNA. They like to make good impressions. They got to make good impressions.
It's TNA. That's why they got rid of the name.
I can't, man. It's hard. I feel like Sisyphus trying to roll up the stone.
What are you gonna do if Moose wins?
What's that?
What are you gonna do if Moose wins?
As a TNAer for life, obviously, I'm gonna cheer from the rafters, baby. Woo! Moose from Atlanta owned Moose, baby. I don't know. I'm gonna be upset probably. They just don't have anybody. It's like I look at this card and it's like, oh, look at all the new TNA signings. Kushida, Trent Seven, Danny Luna. That's it. That's all we got. You're losing Trinity. Well, that's all we got here. All right, company. Match of the week. Plugs. Let's get out of here, Scotty. Match of the week and plugs.
I want to hear yours.
I did tell you would hate it.
I've been thinking about it since then.
What is it? My match of the week is from 1968.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
I saw a really good match from Paris, France.
Drop
1968 between Franz van Buten for the French title, defending against a 22-year-old Andre the Giant. And this match was Andre the Giant's first ever title win. In 1968, he was 22 years, 4 years into his career. I went 3.5 stars. It was really good. I was shocked how really good it was. Franz van Buten did very well. But Andre the Giant, Scotty, Andre the Giant, can I believe it? Shaped like a Gunther here and like working from underneath. And I've never seen it before. It was a wild match to watch. It's on YouTube, the full match, in fairly decent quality. So, I mean, I recommend it. It was really good, honestly. I would honestly go recommend it. It was either that or, of course, a AAA match from 2005. So I figured you would prefer that.
What are you doing in your free time?
I'm going through the backlog.
What is this your backlog? What are you doing?
What do you mean? What do you expect from my backlog?
How many matches are you behind this year?
I already read the number before. Let me pull it up again. I watched I think like 5 or 6 matches out of the backlog this week. And
no, not that. This year.
This year matches that have already happened.
How many are you behind?
15.
And you're out here watching a 1968 match between Franz van Bum and Andre the Giant. I don't remember the guy's name. Sorry.
Franz Van Buten, please give the man some respect.
Oh, Buten. I was pretty close with Bum.
Yeah. To be fair, I said 50 matches. 9 of them happened last night at Collision. Like, a lot of them happened at Collision last night. I haven't
Well,
watched
here's
it
an
yet.
idea. Don't watch all of them.
Well, I'm going to watch Collision. And I'm catching up on the backlog. I only have 1,400. I only have 1,408 matches left.
See, I would give up on the backlog before you even start.
I watched.
How many matches? You know what? Here's what I want you to do this year, okay? Tell me.
You can't do that.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. This is our show, buddy. This is now a thing. I want you to take a tally of how many out of these godforsaken matches reach 4 and above.
Okay.
Okay?
I can do that.
That's easy. Because knowing you, not a lot.
Hey, 3.5 is pretty close.
That's not 4. Though 1968, that's probably a 5 back then.
I know that 1968. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Oh my God, we're in danger.
I don't know. I think I can easily have some matches that are over 4.
I would hope so. I would hope that part of your backlog involves some all timers.
I got a couple classics in here. I'll let you know. I was gonna do a bit. My match of the week is just gonna be a match from the backlog that I watch. But I can definitely let you know when it reaches 4.
Please do. That is a number. That is my new match race for this year. I just want to know your update of the backlog and how many things was actually worth watching.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. There's a couple classics in here. I think there's a couple matches. There's several matches I can easily.
I already know that you're gonna hate some classic, and it's gonna be 10 times funnier. You're gonna oh yeah, that Omega Naito match. Yeah, nah, I'm good, bro.
I mean, maybe this match will reach a 4. This is in the backlog. I don't know. Some random, what is this? All Japan Woman 1987 Crush Gals versus Jumping Bomb Angels. I don't know. Maybe that'll reach 4+. Who knows?
Now, see if your backlog's full with Joshi, then we're okay.
It's got a decent amount of Joshi and Puro.
Anyways, let me get my plugs.
Yeah, please.
Follow me at Scotty Wrestling on Twitter. Check out Stardom Road that came out earlier this week. That was this week. That's crazy. We talked about the 2023 roster and their performance in Stardom. That was a lot of fun. You can check that out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. I recommend the YouTube version just so you can see the list be made in real time. It's easier to have an eye on it. So thank you to everyone who has listened to that. My match of the week is Mascara Dorada versus Templario from CMLL. We're back on the wagon, baby.
Over 4?
Straight 4.
Straight 4.
That was very good. Mascara Dorada is doing this 10 times cooler version of Bandito's sixplex or whatever it's called, but he's doing a fucking dominator off of it. A sit out dominator, bro.
Yeah,
he messed up on this one, but I saw him when he did the Rocky. Well, no, he messed up on the bounce part. He did the dominator correctly, but I saw him do this against Rocky Romero when he won the belt from him last year, and it was sick. And it looks more natural. It doesn't have the guy sitting there. So he's great. Recommend that. We're back on it from Arena, Mexico. Hot start to the year. We got freaking Mystico and Volador Jr. wrestling on a Tuesday or something this week for the title. Kidding me? Arena Mexico is hot. It's time to get into CMLL. This might be the only way I can ever bring it up on this show because it's hard if they don't. We have to figure out
how we bring up the Super Vienna's show.
Next Super Vienna's has Soberano Jr. versus Templario, baby, in the main event. So you're gonna want to get into it.
And next week, all we're talking about so far on the docket: TNA Hard to Kill, New Japan Battle in the Valley, and New Japan New Beginning in Nagoya.
I'm gonna be so tired trying to watch both of those.
Both of those. What do you mean? Oh, Hard to Kill and Battle in the Valley. They are at the same time.
We're not talking about Battle in the Belts.
Are we going to talk about Battle of the Belts? If there's a title change on Battle of the Belts, we'll talk about it.
NXT. AEW Homecoming isn't good enough for you?
No.
Why? It has Hangman and Claudio.
That does look good. I don't think we'll talk about it. I mean, unless it's that blow-away great. I mean, I assume we're going to talk about Mercedes Moné. I assume she's showing up at that show.
I assume she doesn't, and that's the bigger conversation.
She's coming in and building up a women's tag title. That's
Could you imagine if she goes to WWE after all this? Because I could. They're signing Trinity.
Yeah,
it's a spicy meatball.
It's a spicy meatball.
No one knows until she shows up. No one has a freaking clue.
Can you believe that we're finally going to get Mercedes Moné versus Julia in a WWE ring? That's the only way we get this match now in a WWE ring.
It fucking sucks, dude. Julia's going to go to NXT because they need to, like, I don't know, dumb her down, I guess. AKA have her not be Julia.
Well, in NXT defense, freshen up on English and learn the American style wrestling. They've done this in all their.
She's better at English than like.
Oh, I agree. I agree. They've even said that she's better at English than most of the people.
But like,
they're still new to American television.
Well, my point.
I get it.
I need everyone to know, if you're listening to this and you've never seen Julia in Stardom, she is not going to be Julia in Stardom in WWE. Because she can't be Julia in Stardom in WWE. There's not going to be shoot headbutts. There's not going to be these insane Northern Lights bombs. There's not so much of what makes her awesome is going to be taken away. Yeah, she's going to still look awesome and all this other stuff. And she's got the aura that we always talk about on Twitter every freaking day of our lives now. But like,
well, she's a WWE wrestler. All these people only have aura and they don't have anything else. Who, you know how like when Nakamura came in, they did Nakamura, Sami Zayn. It was a great match.
Yeah. Sure.
Who do you think will be the first great match against Julia? That would be like, that's exciting. Honestly,
idea.
The only person I can think of
Tiffany Stratton, baby.
Yes, exactly. The only person I can think of is the dream match, Tiffany Stratton versus Julia. It's probably going to be Julia versus Blair Davenport.
Fuck.
Probably what it's going to be.
You know,
but
this reminds me. I didn't get to talk about Julia much and like her leaving. I'm like the one person I think at this point that's like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm cool. I'm fine with her leaving. I know like everyone's like, oh no, this is a disaster. It's like she did everything. She's at the top of Stardom for 4 years. It's not really much else.
What more do you want from her?
Would I have loved a great World of Stardom title reign? Yeah. But if that's all I'm asking for, it's like, it's time. They'll be fine.
Now, of course, I would prefer if she was in AEW versus WWE so I can continue to see her style of wrestling, but she was going to leave at some point. She was going to leave at some point. It's just a matter of the more upsetting news is WWE.
Instead of watching her on NXT, I could have watched her on Rampage once a month, maybe, against Sky Blue.
I was going to say, Sky Blue. Oh, man.
You know I'm right.
Yeah, you are right. And Sky Blue gets the win. That is it for this week's episode of... That's it for this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. I'm Ryan. You can follow me on Twitter at RyanAT. That's Scotty at Scott E Wrestling on Twitter. Follow the whole network at Countout Pod. We got great shows, Your Dose of Death, Okada Shorts, and Stardom Road featuring Scotty and Trent. We'll be back next week talking about a bunch of other things. And until then, we'll see you all next time. Goodbye, everybody.